Phoenix Knights. After Gongziyu saved the 11 experts, Lin Feng took back his doppelganger and poisoned doppelganger. Murong Sun Er's eyes lit up as she said, "So you have a life and death battle with Huangfu Qin Tian. But now you're in trouble. Huangfu Qin Tian has devoured Pangu's ancestral blood and has mastered some of Pangu's ancient magical powers. Once a monster like Huangfu Qin Tian breaks through to the god realm, his magical power will be monstrous. Huangfu Qin Tian's talent isn't any worse than yours. You may be able to kill some ordinary gods when you're at a lower level, but you definitely won't be able to kill a monster like Huangfu Qin Tian. Instead, you'll probably be killed by Huangfu Qin Tian. Only then can you break through to the godly layer." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I know that. Therefore, I can't let Huangfu Qin Tian get the Premier Secret Land. If he does, I'll definitely die in this battle." The two didn't stay any longer. They came to an ancient city and booked a room. Murong Sun took out the white crane sky-gazing painting. Lin Feng and Murong Sun sat cross-legged and carefully comprehended the Tao Chi of the white crane sky-gazing painting. The world of painting and calligraphy. A white crane. It spread its wings and flew high. 3 days and 3 nights passed. Murong Sun opened her eyes and sighed. She didn't understand anything in the past 3 days and 3 nights. The secret of the white crane sky-gazing painting was still a mystery. Murong Sun found that Lin Feng was still in a state of epiphany. Murong Sun observed Lin Feng. "This guy looks pretty good, but who would have thought that he's actually a bastard?" Murong Sun curled her lips. At this moment, Lin Feng entered a mysterious state. He felt that his divine sense had entered the world of the painting. He could feel the aura of the surrounding flowers, trees, forests, and even hear some insects and birds chirping. Suddenly, a loud sound came from afar. A white crane flew over. To be precise, it was a crane surrounded by immortal light. It spread its wings and flew. The white crane flew out from the depths. Then, it turned around and flew into the depths of the forest. Soon, it disappeared without a trace. However, after 3 days, the white crane flew out again. Then, it flew around and disappeared into the depths again. After 3 days, the white crane appeared again. "So that's it! So that's it! I know! This white crane is a mount. It can lead us to the things left behind by the white crane boy." Lin Feng's face showed joy. The white crane flew over again and let out a loud cry. Lin Feng opened his eyes and grabbed Murong Sun's hand. "Hey, stinky pervert, you're taking advantage of me again. Believe it or not, I'll beat you up." Murong Sun screamed. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes and said, "What are you screaming for? Who's taking advantage of you? I found a way to enter the grave of the white crane boy." "Oh, really?" Murong Sun was surprised. The white crane flew over again. Lin Feng grabbed Murong Sun and rushed directly toward the scroll suspended in midair. Whoosh whoosh, when Lin Feng and Murong Sun got close to the scroll, their bodies quickly shrank. The next moment, the two disappeared from the room. And there were 2 more little people in the scroll. Those 2 little people were Lin Feng and Murong Sun. "We entered the scroll?" Murong Sun said in surprise. Lin Feng nodded and said, "I guess that this scroll is actually an entrance to a space. It should be a heaven-defying magic that refined the entrance into the scroll." At this time, the white crane had already flown above their heads. Lin Feng said, "Let's go, ride the white crane. This white crane will take us to the destination." Lin Feng grabbed Murong Sun's hand and flew to the sky, above the lily, and then on the white crane. The white crane's body was not big, just enough to carry 2 people. Murong Sun sat in front, Lin Feng sat behind Murong Sun. The white crane let out a loud cry, then spread its wings and flew into the depths of the scroll. Chapter 1540. The ancient forest was so dense that one could even hear the roars of berserk beasts. "Is this place where we are in the painting? Why do I feel like this is the real world?" Murong Sun couldn't help but ask. In the distance, a huge creature stood up. It was actually a huge centipede with densely packed legs. The huge centipede stood up straight, and was over 10,000 meters tall. Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er were shocked. Isn't this body too huge? It was the first time they saw such a huge centipede. Is this a prehistoric centipede? Murong Sun Er couldn't help but mutter. The prehistoric civilization predated the ancient times and even the immortal era. There was no way to know how long ago it was. However, some information about the prehistoric civilization could be found in some scriptures. It was said that there were many abnormally huge berserk beasts in the prehistoric civilization. For example, the current frog was only half the size of a palm. The frog that appeared in the prehistoric civilization. A frog was 3 to 4,000 meters tall. How huge was that? The white crane carried Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er all the way to the depths. Along the way, they saw many powerful berserk beasts. However, the white crane was very fast and left those powerful berserk beasts behind in the blink of an eye. Therefore, those berserk beasts had no chance to attack Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er. Look, what is that? Why is it so dark? Suddenly, Murong Sun Er pointed to the front. In front of them, black fog was rolling, and the rolling black fog was quickly moving in the direction of Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er. There seemed to be something in the black fog. Both sides were quickly approaching. Finally, Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er saw what was in the black fog. In the black fog, there was a dense group of black bats. Those bats weren't big, about the size of a palm. However, those bats were extremely strange. They had the body of a bat and the head of a wolf. These bats were called wolf-headed black bats. It was also a race that had long disappeared from the outside world. It had actually appeared in the world within the painting. Wolf-headed black bats had extremely powerful attacks. Their heads were not to be underestimated. It was said that the teeth of wolf-headed black bats could even crush divine weapons. This showed how terrifying wolf-headed black bats were. If a cultivator was surrounded by wolf-headed black bats, they would be devoured in an instant. Wolf-headed black bats, this is bad. Murong Sun Er, that wolf-headed Murong Sun Er. Lin Feng immediately took out the purple earth core. The earth core's earth core, the earth core was burning, was the earth core. Countless wolf-headed earth core bats and Murong Sun Er were burned to death. Countless wolf-headed black batses and fell wolf-headed earth core. The black wolf-headed bats that were still alive didn't dare attack Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er anymore. They quickly flew away. When Lin Feng was some distance away from the wolf-headed black bats, he summoned his celestial fire back. You just took out a heavenly flame. Murong Sun Er was very knowledgeable and recognized Lin Feng's heavenly flame. Lin Feng nodded. That's right, it's heavenly flame. Murong Sun Er was slightly surprised. She thought that Lin Feng would try to hide it. She did not expect that. Lin Feng admitted it without hesitation. Murong Sun Er snorted. How many secrets do you have that I don't know? I advise you not to pay too much attention to me. I'm worried that you'll latch on to me again. I'm not interested in you, Lin Feng said. Who would latch on to you? Shameless bastard! Murong Sun Er snorted. Time passed quickly as Murong Sun Er bickered with Murong Sun Er. About a day and a half later, the immortal crane let out a loud cry. Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er looked towards the depths of the painting and were shocked. In the depths of the painting, immortal fog was lingering, and above the immortal fog, there were many palaces. It was just like the legendary Immortal Palace, Jade Palaces and Jade Palaces. It was very beautiful. We're here! We're finally here! Murong Sun Er shouted excitedly. The immortal crane stopped above the immortal fog. Then, the immortal fog turned towards Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er and called out to them. It seemed to be saying, You can come down now. Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er came down from the immortal crane and stepped on the immortal fog. They discovered that there was a white jade staircase in the immortal fog. The white jade staircase extended all the way to a huge immortal door. Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er followed the white jade staircase and walked towards the depths. In the end, they stopped outside the immortal door. Immortal Court secret territory! There was a plaque above the immortal door. On the plaque, there were 4 ancient words written in flamboyant calligraphy. Is this the secret territory left behind by the White Crane Boy? Murong Sun Er looked towards the depths. Lin Feng said, It looks more like the place where the White Crane Boy cultivates. Let's go in and take a look. Murong Sun Er nodded. She couldn't wait to go in. Boom! But at that moment, there was a violent fluctuation coming from the depths. Then 10 figures flew out. They were 10 golden men. Each of them had a powerful blood chi and were very strong. Why are there still people here? Murong Sun Er's face changed when she saw the 10 golden men flying out of the Immortal Court's secret territory. If there were still people living in the Immortal Court's secret territory, it would be a big problem. They had worked so hard to come here, wouldn't it be difficult to get any treasures? Lin Feng shook his head. They're not people. They're puppets. But they're very high-level puppets. Could it be that the White Crane Boy left them here to protect the Immortal Court's secret territory? Murong Sun Er said. Lin Feng nodded. That's very likely. Be careful, the puppets are coming out. If we want to go in, we have to defeat them first. Murong Sun Er took out the 8 trigrams furnace, while Lin Feng took out the 9 demons painting. Then, he summoned his godly realm clone and the 3 toxic puppets. These golden-armored puppets were not simple. Their auras were extremely terrifying. So, Lin Feng didn't dare to be careless when facing the 10 puppets. Boom! A great battle broke out. It was a very difficult battle. After hundreds of rounds, Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er were exhausted. However, the 10 puppets were unharmed. Something's not right. Our attacks can't hurt these puppets, but our bodies are constantly in a state of exhaustion. We're getting weaker and weaker. If this continues, I'm afraid we won't be able to last long. Lin Feng said gloomily. He realized the seriousness of the situation. The 10 puppets were very strange. They seemed to be able to repair themselves. No matter what kind of damage they received, they could recover quickly. Chapter 1541. Murong Sun Er asked in a deep voice. What should we do now? We can only choose to retreat temporarily, and then think of another way. Lin Feng said. Whoosh! After forcing the puppets to retreat, Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er chose to retreat quickly. These puppets did not come out to chase after Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er. Their mission seemed to be to simply prevent others from entering the Immortal Court's secret territory. After Lin Feng and Murong Sun Er retreated, Lin Feng's divine realm avatar and the 3 poisonous puppets also withdrew together. 10 puppets stood at the gate of the Immortal Court's secret territory, looking indifferent. These puppets are really difficult to deal with. I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to find a way to deal with them. Murong Sun Er felt a headache coming on. The 10 puppets did not show any flaws. Lin Feng said, There are actually 3 possibilities for their rapid recovery after being injured. One is because of the formation, the second is because of the materials, and the third is that when the 10 puppets were forged, both the self-healing formation and precious materials were added. But no matter what the reason is, it is not easy to destroy these puppets. Although it is not easy, it is not impossible to destroy them. Murong Sun Er's eyes suddenly lit up. She looked at Lin Feng and said, Can we destroy them? Have you thought of a way? Lin Feng said, We have to destroy the puppets in an unstoppable manner, leaving them no time to repair themselves. Murong Sun Er said, The 10 puppets work together to attack and defend well. It is completely impossible to destroy them in an unstoppable manner. Then Murong Sun Er seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes lit up slightly and said, I forgot that you are also a powerful spirit array master. If we set up a formation, we can lure the 10 puppets into the formation and then use the formation to separate them. In this way, the 10 puppets will fight on their own, and we will attack them one by one. In this way, we will be able to completely destroy the 10 puppets one by one. Lin Feng nodded and said, Yes, that's what I plan to do. We can use the formation to deal with these puppets. Lin Feng did not waste any time. He took out all kinds of formation materials and began to set up the formation. It took about 3 hours for Lin Feng to set up the formation successfully. After the formation was set up, Lin Feng and Murong Sun once again attacked the puppets. The battle broke out again. The 10 puppets were led into the formation set up by Lin Feng and Murong Sun in advance. Under the effect of the formation, the 10 puppets were separated. Lin Feng summoned his avatar and the 3 highly toxic puppets. Then he activated the 9 demon painting. Murong Sun activated the 8 trigrams furnace. The avatar and the 3 highly toxic puppets assisted her. It was equivalent to 6 God Realm experts besieging 1 highly toxic puppet at the same time. These highly toxic puppets could not withstand such a violent attack. Bang! Under the joint attack of Lin Feng, Murong Sun, the avatar, and the 3 highly toxic puppets, the body of the highly toxic puppet directly burst into pieces. It's done! Murong Sun's eyes suddenly lit up. Although the abilities displayed by the golden-armored puppet were heaven-defying, it was only a puppet after all, not a real cultivator. So it was not that difficult to deal with it. Lin Feng and Murong Sun used the same method to deal with the other 9 puppets. Bang bang bang, next. The puppets suffered the same fate as the first puppet. Under the joint attack of Lin Feng, Murong Sun, the avatar, and the 3 highly toxic puppets, they were all destroyed. Phew! After destroying the 10 puppets, Lin Feng and Murong Sun could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Feng collected the materials of the golden puppet that were scattered everywhere. Murong Sun asked curiously, "Why are you collecting these junk?" Lin Feng said, "Some of the materials may not be damaged. I will separate them and use them to refine my 3 highly toxic puppets." Murong Sun's eyes suddenly lit up when he mentioned the highly toxic puppets. She was very interested in them. Lin Feng kept the avatar and the 3 highly toxic puppets in his body. Then he walked with Murong Sun to the Immortal Court's secret realm. The place was filled with immortal chi. It was as if they had come to the legendary place where the immortals lived. In the past, this place might have been very prosperous. Perhaps they would have been able to see fairies passing by. But now, it was empty. "Look, there's a huge dojo over there. It has the chi of the Tao." Lin Feng pointed at a huge square. He and Murong Sun quickly flew over. There was indeed the chi of the Tao there. Even after so many years, they could still feel it. Could it be the place where the White Crane Boy taught and solved problems? Lin Feng muttered. Then he said, "Did the White Crane Boy establish his own sect?" Murong Sun said, "I'm not sure. But I don't think someone as powerful as the White Crane Boy could have been a servant of Yuan Shi Tianzun forever. So, it's very likely that he established a dojo and recruited a lot of disciples." Lin Feng nodded and said, "But the strange thing is, if this is the dojo of the White Crane Boy back in the days, how did the inheritance disappear? Many places here are perfectly preserved. There are no traces of a great battle. It's really strange. I wonder what happened in the past." Murong Sun said, "Actually, there are many things that happened before the immemorial era. There are no historical records." "That's right." Lin Feng sighed and nodded. The past was gone. How many things were buried in the long river of history, unable to be explored. They were destined to become dust-covered secrets that no one knew about. They were destined to become eternal secrets. Lin Feng and Murong Sun didn't stay in the dojo for long. They flew towards the nearest palace. When they arrived, they saw a huge plaque above the hall with the words, "Achievement Hall," written on it. Lin Feng and Murong Sun entered the Achievement Hall. The first thing they saw was 2 statues. One of them was tall and had a transcendent aura. The other statue was skinny and mysterious. "Huh! Who are they?" Lin Feng and Murong Sun were puzzled. Since this was the Achievement Hall, it should have a statue of the White Crane Boy. Even if they didn't worship the White Crane Boy, it was understandable that they worshipped the Yuan Shi Tianzun. But the key point was, the 2 statues in front of them weren't the Yuan Shi Tianzun. Who were they? Why were they worshipped here by the White Crane Boy? Chapter 1542. Lin Feng said, Look, traces of divine power are flowing into the two statues. This is the power of faith. They can even absorb the power of faith? What was the origin of these two idols? It's really strange. I don't think I've seen them before. Murong Suna was very confused. She looked left and right in the achievement hall, but she couldn't find anything. There should be couplets here. Why is there nothing here? Lin Feng pointed at the two pillars in the hall. Murong Suna said, Look, there were some vague imprints, but they seem to have disappeared. There must have been couplets here before. Come, kneel 3 times and kowtow 9 times to these two unknown gods and pray sincerely. Let's see if something unexpected will happen, Lin Feng said. He felt that these two statues had a great origin. This was the White Crane Boy's training ground. It was fine if the palace didn't worship him, but it didn't even worship his master, Yuan Shi Tianzuan. Yet, it worshipped two unknown existences. It was really strange. Lin Feng and Murong Suna knelt on the prayer mats in front of the two statues, then kowtowed 9 times to the two statues. Suddenly, something strange happened. The couplets that had disappeared on the two pillars reappeared. Lin Feng and Murong Suna stood up and saw the new couplets. Their faces were filled with joy. The couplet on the left read, First Hongjun, then Tian. The couplet on the right read, Lu Yidao Emperor is still in front. First Hongjun, then Tian, Lu Yidao Emperor is still in front. What does this mean? Murong Suna was very confused. Lin Feng shook his head. He didn't understand what it meant either. Pangu created the world. It shouldn't have anything to do with Hongjun or Lu Yidao Emperor, right? Suddenly, the ancient characters on the couplet seemed to come alive, emitting a golden light. Then, the golden light poured into Lin Feng and Murong Suna's bodies. A large amount of information appeared in Lin Feng and Murong Suna's minds. Before the primordial chaos, the world still belonged to the primordial chaos. Grand Mist Era. This was the first era, which was the era before the Chaos Era. During the primordial era, 4 ancient beings were born. The 4 living beings were primordial chaos, Dao Lord Luya, Hongjun, and Han Kun. In the entire Grand Mist Era, there were only 4 such beings. Their lifespans were practically limitless. Later on, the Grand Mist Era ended, and they entered the Primal Chaos Era. Finally, the Primal Chaos Era was no longer so boring. This was because the Primal Chaos Era had begun to give birth to new lifeforms, such as Niwa, Pangu, Grand Supreme, Guangyuan, Gonggang, and many others. This was the so-called Xiantian lifeform. The 4 great powers of the primordial era had enlightened some Xiantian lifeforms. These enlightened Xiantian lifeforms were the first batch of Xiantian lifeforms to awaken, and were also the most powerful Xiantian lifeforms. Pangu was one of them. Pangu was enlightened by Hongjun, so Hongjun was Pangu's teacher. Countless years ago, there was a saying that had been passed down, but now, no one had heard of it. This sentence was, Hongjun's Tao is passed down to the 3 friends. This sentence was referring to Hongjun's 3 disciples. Taoist Hongjun was the master of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning, and Grand Master of Heaven. Taoist Hongjun was the ancestor of all immortals, and he was also known as Patriarch Hongyuan. Hongyuan referred to the original state of the universe before heaven and earth were created and the void was separated. There was a saying that Hongjun came first, then Tian. Taoist Hongjun's great Tao was passed down to Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, Primordial Beginning, and Grand Master of Heaven. The 3 of them founded Chan School, Tao School, and Jie School respectively. During the primal chaos, the Tao was born. The Tao transformed into Hongjun, and he was the one who created the world. Apart from the great Tao, the 3 primordial Qi were born. Laozi separated and reunited in the primal chaos Qi, and the 3 lights as the beginning. The Tao transformed into an incarnation, and the cicada transformed into the world. The primal chaos Qi, 3 pure ones, was Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning, Grand Master of Heaven. Therefore, there was a saying that Hongjun's Tao is passed down to the 3 friends. The 3 Qi was one, and was born for the Tao. Actually, Among the 4 existences of the Primal Chaos era, Hongjun was only ranked 3rd. The second was Taoist Luya. Taoist Luya was the essence of fire. He flew out of the 3 realms and was not in the 5 elements. He was not in the 3 sects, or the land of bliss. He was not under the control of the human king, and was not in the netherworld. Xiao Xiao was free to roam, free to be an itinerant saint immortal. However, there was a saying. Patriarch Hongjun is the #1 immortal. His disciple, Pangu, opened the sky. First, there was Hongjun, then there was Tian. Tao Lord Luya is still in front. He is only 18 years old this year. 1 chaos is 1 year. Therefore, it seemed that Luya just did not like to be controlled. Tao Lord Luya was an itinerant immortal on the North Ocean's Fish Days Island. His seniority was extremely high, but because he did not have any disciples, others did not know much about his deeds. However, Taoist Luya's identity and background were frightening. The couplet here. There is Tian behind Hongjun, Taoist Luya is still in front. It was not belittling Hongjun's identity. It was proving Taoist Luya's identity. This was a figure at the level of the 4 giants of the Primal Chaos era. His status was even higher than Hongjun's. Lin Feng was extremely shocked. These were all secrets that had disappeared. Many people even thought that Pangu, Nuwa, the heavenly lord of primordial beginning, and the others were gods that came out of myths. Therefore, there was no need to mention the 4 giants that were even more ancient than Pangu, Nuwa, and the other living beings. Perhaps no one would believe him even if he told them the secrets that he had learned now. Because it was too shocking. I didn't expect that there would be such powerful figures who predated the Khanate lifeforms. So they are the earliest living beings in the world. Murong Suna's eyes lit up. Obviously, she was shocked. Of course, Lin Feng was also shocked. He rubbed his chin and looked at the statues of Hongjun and Taoist Luya. Then, he said, let's have a good epiphany here. I feel that this place might hide the Tao of Hongjun and Taoist Luya. Hongjun was the master of Grand Supreme Elder, the heavenly lord of primordial beginning, Pangu, and the Grand Master of Heaven. Taoist Luya could be considered Hongjun's senior brother. The Tao left behind by such a figure. That was too terrifying. It must be so powerful that it was unimaginable. If he could have an epiphany, the benefits would be endless. Lin Feng and Murong Sun sat on the futon and comprehended the Tao. Wanting to comprehend the Tao within was naturally not an easy thing to do. However, as time passed, Lin Feng still sensed a special Tao aura. It was hazy. Lin Feng seemed to have sensed a mysterious, ancient, and vast world. He tried his best to connect with that world. Finally, Lin Feng successfully connected with that mysterious world. Boom! He felt the world spin as he entered that ancient world. Chapter 1543. This was a blurry world. He couldn't even see what was going on around him. What is this place? Lin Feng frowned. His spiritual will had fused with this world. And now, his spiritual will had transformed into his appearance. He was flying in this world. Then, Lin Feng heard a cry. A fiery red divine bird flew across the sky. That divine bird looked very much like a crow. Taoist Luya is a living being born from the essence of fire. Could the existence that just flew past be transformed by Taoist Luya? Lin Feng was shocked and couldn't help but mutter to himself. He quickly chased after it. In the end, Lin Feng caught up to the fire crow. The fire crow finally transformed into a Taoist. He sat on top of a mountain peak. It was unknown how many years had passed since he sat on this mountain peak. Later, someone came to look for Taoist Luya. This was another ancient existence, Patriarch Hun Kun, one of the 4 giants of the primordial era. He was ranked 4th among the 4 giants. Enlightening living beings is also a kind of fate, Patriarch Hun Kun said. Could this be the Chaos Era? Lin Feng muttered. During the Chaos Era, Patriarch Hongjun and Patriarch Hun Kun began to enlighten some living beings. Patriarch Hongjun enlightened powerful living beings like Pangu. Patriarch Hun Kun liked to enlighten innate living beings in the shape of strange beasts. Not interested. Taoist Luya rolled his eyes and said, among the four giants of the primordial era, as the first living being in the universe, Hong Meng was also the most mysterious existence, and rarely appeared. When Hong Jun and Hun Kun were enlightening living beings, Hong Meng was still missing. As for Taoist Luya, he had a rather lazy personality and was not very interested in these things. Therefore, even if Patriarch Hun Kun persuaded Taoist Luya to enlighten some living beings, then he would let those living beings pass down his teachings. This way, his teachings could be passed down forever. With more disciples, there would be more people who believed in him. Yes, cultivation. Naturally, there would be great benefits. However, Taoist Luya was clearly not interested in such matters. In the end, Patriarch Hun Kun stopped persuading Taoist Luya and chose to leave. Taoist Luya had been to many places. He saw the primal chaos era filled with vitality, which was completely different from the grand mist era he lived in. In this era, creatures were being nurtured, as if a brand new world was about to be opened. No one knew how many years had passed. Pangu created the world. Nuwa had created billions of living beings. The world became more and more lively. Born before the opening of the sky, buried after the opening of the sky. Taoist Luya was a very strange person. He played in the human world and later felt that there was nothing fun in this world. He thought of burying himself. He had tried many methods, but they all failed. This made Lin Feng speechless. As one of the four giants of the primordial era, Taoist Luya was actually such a weirdo. After Taoist Luya failed to bury himself, he came to the outer realms. He sat in the starry sky and looked up at the stars in the sky. Immediately after, over the long years, Taoist Luya observed the changes in the stars and evolved a star chart. This star chart was later named Luya's Star Chart by Taoist Luya. Lin Feng was shocked. Luya's star chart was an extremely powerful divine ability. To be precise, this was the soul refining technique created by Taoist Luya. Lin Feng sat cross-legged like Taoist Luya and carefully sensed the changes in the stars. After an unknown period of time, Lin Feng suddenly had a strange feeling. He realized that sometimes, he seemed to have become Taoist Luya. Sometimes, he became himself again. However, regardless of whether he became Taoist Luya or himself, he was still sitting cross-legged in the starry sky world. Then, he observed the changes in the stars. Gradually, Lin Feng felt enlightened. He realized that the image of the stars in the sky had appeared in his mind. Now, the stars in the sky had turned into a picture. Every time his spiritual will invaded the picture, Lin Feng could see the movement and changes of the stars in the sky. And every time he observed the star chart, his soul power seemed to be able to increase. Lin Feng had heard that the primordial star chart was the #1 soul refining technique in the primordial era. However, how could the primordial star chart compare to the Luya's star chart, passed down by Taoist Luya? The primordial star chart was at most a divine ability created by a great emperor. As for Luya's star chart, it was created by one of the four giants of the primordial era, Taoist Luya. As for Taoist Luya's cultivation level, Lin Feng did not know. However, one thing was clear. Taoist Luya's strength was definitely not something that a great emperor could compare to. Billions of stars were mountains and rivers. The universe was hidden in his heart. With a thought, he could reverse the stars. With a move, he could shatter the worlds. Incantations echoed in Lin Feng's mind. The mysteries of Luya's star chart flowed in Lin Feng's heart. After an unknown period of time, Luya's star chart was finally deeply imprinted in Lin Feng's mind. He could never forget it. He had learned the soul refining technique created by Taoist Luya. To Lin Feng, this could be said to be a great opportunity. Luya's star chart was mysterious and unfathomable. It was not as simple as increasing one's soul power. Of course, Lin Feng needed to slowly comprehend the specific mysteries. Taoist Luya stood up. I want to bury myself. Why can't I do it? I wonder what Hong Meng, Hong Jun, and Han Kun are doing now? Taoist Luya muttered. He first went to look for Hong Jun. This was because Taoist Luya had the strongest relationship with Hong Jun. When he arrived at Hong Jun's place of seclusion, it was already empty. He did not know where Hong Jun had gone to. Where did that old fart go? Taoist Luya muttered. After leaving Taoist Hong Jun's Tao temple, he immediately headed to Patriarch Hun Kun's Tao temple. However, after arriving at Patriarch Hun Kun's Tao temple, he did not find him. Patriarch Hun Kun had disappeared without a trace like Hong Jun. Where did he go? Could it be that he went to enlighten innate spirits again? Taoist Luya muttered. I'll go take a look at old Decent. Taoist Luya left and headed to Hong Meng's Tao temple. Hong Meng was ranked first among the 4 heavyweights. He was also the most mysterious existence. Rumor had it that Hong Meng was a living being born from purple light. In the world of cultivators, purple light represented nobility. Just like how domineering it was. Purple domineering aura represented supreme domineering aura. After arriving at Hong Meng Tao temple, he found that Hong Meng was not there. At that moment, Taoist Luya felt that something was amiss. He used his technique of becoming one with the world to sense Hong Meng, Hong Jun, and Patriarch Hun Kun. However, the result left Taoist Luya aghast. He was actually unable to sense Hong Meng, Hong Jun, or Patriarch Hun Kun's auras. Lin Feng was also very surprised. What was going on? Why had Hong Meng, Hong Jun, and Patriarch Hun Kun's auras vanished? Could it be that he had fallen? But who could have killed them? Chapter 1544. Taoist Luya searched for a long time, traversing mountains and rivers, but to no avail. He had no idea what had happened. Of the 4 giants of the primordial era, he was the only one left in this world. The other 3 had disappeared without a trace. It really made people feel strange. Their disappearance was too strange. As for whether they had died or not, Taoist Luya wasn't sure. In his opinion, no one in this world could kill Hong Meng, Hong Jun, and Han Kun. Taoist Luya mumbled. Could he have committed suicide? Then Taoist Luya shook his head and said, Those 3 fellows are not people who would casually commit suicide. Even I didn't die when I committed suicide. If they really committed suicide, they definitely wouldn't die. What's the problem? Is there something in this universe that I don't know about? No, this won't do. I need to divine what's going on. With that thought, Taoist Luya set up the incense table and took out 3 tortoiseshell. He seemed to be about to perform a divination. Swish! At that moment, all the images disappeared. Lin Feng was back in the real world. Lin Feng had no idea what happened after that. Lin Feng didn't know if Taoist Luya had divined the whereabouts of Hong Meng, Hong Jun, and Han Kun. Those things were destined to remain a mystery to Lin Feng. It's a pity that I can't find out what happened in the past. However, my harvest today is quite heaven-defying. I actually obtained Taoist Luya's stargazing chart. I wonder if I can be considered half a successor of Taoist Luya. If so, will I be able to obtain Taoist Luya's legacy in the future? Lin Feng muttered in his heart. He closed his eyes and activated Luya's star observation chart, starting to cultivate his soul. Lin Feng could sense that his soul was becoming stronger at an incredible speed. In a short time, he would break through to the godly layer. Not long after, Murong Suner woke up. Looking at her beaming face, she must have obtained a lot of benefits. However, Lin Feng and Murong Suner didn't talk much about it. Both of them had their own fortuitous encounters. Forcing the other person's fortuitous encounter would not be tolerated by the great Tao. The heavenly Tao was able to sense everything. Lin Feng and Murong Suner walked out of the Merit Palace and went to the other palaces. Inside the palace, the 3 pure ones were enshrined. They were the Heavenly Lord Yuanshi, the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, and the Heavenly Lord Dao De. There was also a palace dedicated to the White Crane Boy. Lin Feng and Murong Suner muttered after seeing the White Crane Boy. The White Crane Boy was actually a child who appeared to be only 3 or 4 years old. Murong Sun asked. Could it be that White Crane Boy has never grown up? Lin Feng nodded. That's possible. The two of them then bowed to the White Crane Boy. He had entered someone else's territory. You want to take my treasure? It would be inexcusable if he didn't pay his respects to his master. However, when Lin Feng and Murong Sun bowed to the White Crane Boy, they felt extremely strange. After bowing, Lin Feng said, Let's go and find the treasury left behind by White Crane Boy. We've already agreed that I'll take 80 and you take 20. Although Murong Sun was extremely unwilling, she could only accept it. She glared fiercely at Lin Feng and then began to search the treasury. It didn't take long for them to find a treasury. However, when they opened it, they found that it was empty. Damn, someone beat us to it. Seeing that the treasury had been emptied, Lin Feng immediately cried out gloomily. Who the hell did this? They actually emptied the treasury. Next, Lin Feng and Murong Sun found another 6 or 7 treasuries, but they were all empty. All the treasures found in the vaults had been taken away by someone else. This made Lin Feng and Murong Sun furious. The treasures left behind by White Crane Boy must be incomparably precious. With so many treasures in the treasury, this was a huge windfall. They were actually taken away by someone else. Who else could it be? Who wouldn't be depressed? When they reached the 9th treasury, Lin Feng and Murong Sun finally found a clue. Immeasurable deity! This Taoist master was here. They found a line of twisted words in the 9th treasury. Obviously, from the clues, they knew that the bastard who came here and emptied the 9th treasury was a Taoist master. As for who this Taoist master was, they didn't know. Why do I feel that this handwriting is a bit familiar? Lin Feng looked at the twisted words and felt a bit apprehensive. Suddenly, a person popped up in his mind. But then, Lin Feng quickly shook his head. How could it be that guy? This treasury was emptied who knows how many tens of thousands of years ago. It definitely wasn't something that happened recently. Because the guy who emptied the treasury and left behind a line of words, the handwriting was from the immemorial era. This should be done by a Taoist master from the immemorial era. And the person that appeared in Lin Feng's mind. It was immeasurable Taoist. But then again, this handwriting was quite similar to immeasurable Taoists. Damn Taoist! Murong Sun cursed the Taoist master who emptied the treasury. Lin Feng and Murong Sun continued to look for new treasures. Finally, they found the 10th treasury. When they arrived at the 10th treasury, Lin Feng and Murong Sun were very happy because the seal of the 10th treasury was still there, which meant that the 10th treasury wasn't emptied by the Taoist master from before. Could it be that he found his conscience? That's why he didn't empty the treasury. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. Lin Feng broke the seal of the 10th treasury, and then entered it with Murong Sun. After entering the 10th treasury, he discovered that it was filled with piles of immortal iron and immortal stones. Murong Shue said in surprise. This is the place where treasures and materials are stored. Lin Feng nodded, looking at the piles of various materials. His eyes were shining. Heavenly crystal stone, black demon stone, raging flame heavenly stone, great flood dragon blood stone, Qilin fallen immortal iron, Xianming ghost iron. Looking at the piles of various materials, Lin Feng felt very excited. These materials were all rare treasures. At the very least, they could be used to create divine tools. Some materials, such as the 9th heaven sacred stone, could even be used to create emperor weapons. We're really rich. This kind of material can be sold for a sky-high price. With so many materials, how many divine tools can be created? Lin Feng took a deep breath and said aloud. Chapter 1545. Murong Sun curled her lips and said, Why do you need so many treasures? It's better to accumulate treasures, magical powers, or divine-level star stones. Murong Sun obviously didn't care about these things. However, it was normal. Lin Feng was very excited when he saw the various materials for forging treasures. This was because Lin Feng was very ambitious. In the future, Lin Feng will continue to expand his forces, especially when he goes to the 9 regions in the future. Maybe he will establish his own forces. To establish a force, he naturally needs to build a strong army. To build a cultivator army, he needs to equip the cultivator army with powerful treasures to increase the combat power of the cultivator army. Divine tools are precious. This is because the materials for forging divine tools are too difficult to find. Many divine realm cultivators can't even forge divine tools because they can't find the materials. Or they can't find the precious materials to upgrade their life source treasures to the level of divine tools. Therefore, for the ambitious Lin Feng who wants to do something, these materials for forging divine tools are very precious. Murong Sinner obviously doesn't think so. She is a woman and has no ambition. At most, she cares about her future cultivation. Naturally, she wants to get more cultivation resources. Lin Feng said, "If you don't want these forging materials, I will take them all and open the other treasures. You can choose what you want." Murong Suner has no objection to Lin Feng's proposal. She said, "Okay, in that case, it's a deal." Lin Feng nodded and began to collect the forging materials in the treasury. With so many forging materials, Lin Feng felt that it would be no problem to forge thousands of divine tools. The only problem is that it is difficult to find a divine realm blacksmith. But this is something to consider in the future. After all the materials were collected by Lin Feng and Murong Suner continued to look for the next treasury. They found the 11th treasury. After Lin Feng opened the 11th treasury, he found that there are many bookshelves in the treasury. And on the bookshelves, there are all kinds of scrolls. Ancient star map. Lin Feng was surprised and found many ancient star maps on a bookshelf. This bookshelf is full of ancient star maps. This is the ancient star map to the Undying Realm? Lin Feng opened a scroll of the ancient star map and suddenly showed a shocked expression. The Undying Realm is the most mysterious realm in the 3,000 Great Worlds. It's also ranked first in the 3,000 Great Worlds. Since ancient times, how many experts want to go to the Undying Realm? The Undying Realm had true and pure immortal qi. Cultivators who cultivated in the Undying Realm had a chance to enter the Emperor Realm. Among the 3,000 Great Worlds, perhaps only the Undying Realm. The ancient, therefore. Countless experts from the 3,000 macro worlds wanted to go to the Undying Realm. Going to the Undying Realm was naturally not a problem. But first you need the ancient star map. In this vast I have no ancient star map. To be, Linti have no where you want to note v have no where you want any ancient star map is extremely precious. But the most precious ancient star map is the one to the Undying Realm, the Demon Realm, the Devil Realm, and other great worlds. There were over 100 bookshelves here, and on each shelf, there were about 30 or so ancient star charts. Altogether, there were about 3,000 ancient star diagrams. The boundless starry sky world was boundless. 3,000 ancient star maps, there is a limit to how far one can go. But, without these 3,000 ancient star maps, entering the starry world, it was completely black, and his eyes were completely blind. You can't go anywhere. In addition to the ancient star map, there are many divine ability scrolls, formation scrolls, and alchemy scrolls. These scrolls can be copied. So after copying, Lin Feng and Murong Suner each had a copy. They continued to look for the next treasury. Lin Feng and Murong Suner found the 12th treasury. In the 12th treasury, there are many rare treasures. There are some rare treasures that Lin Feng has never seen before. They are very ancient, and have long been lost. For example, there is a treasure called the Starry Sky Pearl. This treasure only needs to be injected with magic power to activate. Then, it is placed in the room at night. There is no need to light it. The whole room will become a scene of the starry world, beautiful and magnificent. Such a treasure is not useful for cultivation, but it can improve the quality of life and make life more enjoyable. This is... Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a glass bottle. There is an ancient ship sealed in the bottle. He took the glass bottle and observed it carefully. Suddenly, Lin Feng found that the ancient ship sealed in the glass bottle is not simple. The ancient ship is called the Xianyuan ship. The dragon's bones were made from the spine of a golden dragon. The hull of the ship was made of divine black wood. Divine black wood is recognized as one of the best materials to make an ancient ship. In the immortal ancient era, divine black wood has been extinct for a long time. Obviously, this ancient ship was made before the immortal ancient era. It has a long history. In addition to the materials, Lin Feng found that the spirit stone cannons on this ancient ship are also very special. Ordinary ancient ships have one cannon muzzle and one spirit stone cannon. However, this ancient ship has 3 spirit stone cannons and 1 cannon muzzle. The 3 spirit stone cannons seem to be glued together. They can fire 3 cannons at the same time. The lethality is even more powerful. The more Lin Feng looks at this ancient ship, the more he likes it. This is definitely the most advanced ancient ship. Lin Feng feels that this ancient ship is not inferior to the ancient ships controlled by the 9 great pirate kings. It is even more powerful than the ancient ships controlled by the 9 great pirate kings. Lin Feng's eyes then looked at the 2 words, Xianyuan. After seeing these 2 words, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. Xianyuan is an amazing surname. There are very few people with the surname Xianyuan. In all these years, Lin Feng has not seen many people with the surname Xianyuan. The surname Xianyuan originated from the 5 emperors Xianyuan of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. The Xianyuan is the leader of the 5 emperors, also known as the Yellow Emperor. This is the ancestor of the human race. Lin Feng opened the bottle and his divine consciousness invaded the Xianyuan ship. Instantly, Lin Feng felt an extremely ancient aura. The Xianyuan ship needs a captain. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard a voice. It sounded like he was in a trance. However, when Lin Feng listened carefully, the voice disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1546. Huh! Why is there no sound? It's really strange. Lin Feng frowned. Did I hear it wrong? After muttering to himself, Lin Feng put the ancient ship into his storage ring. He will be able to use it when he travels in the starry sky world in the future. It's said that an ancient ship can fight against a fleet. It's a powerful ancient ship like the Xianyuan. Lin Feng continued to collect other treasures. In the end, he and Murong Sun Air divided the treasures in the treasury. After coming out of the treasury, the two continued to look for other treasures. There are a lot of palaces here, a total of 300 to 400 palaces. However, Lin Feng and Murong Sun Air did not find any new treasures. It seems like there are only 12 treasures. Lin Feng and Murong Sun Air took the treasures of the 9 vaults. The remaining 3 vaults were taken by the mysterious Taoist priest. There seems to be a medicinal garden over there. Murong Sun Air pointed at a courtyard not far away. Immortal Qi lingered in the courtyard, bursts of dazzling immortal light. A rich medicinal fragrance spread out from the courtyard. Ya! Ya! Bibi woke up first. It opened its big cute eyes and rubbed its eyes with its little paws. It looked at the direction of the medicinal garden and almost drooled. After seeing such a charmingly naive Bei, Murong Sun's eyes suddenly lit up. Bei was such a cute, snow-white little beast. To a woman, it definitely possessed a huge killing power. What kind of little beast is this? It's so cute. Let sister hug you. Murong Sun stretched out her hands and wanted to hug the little beast. However, the little beast was one step ahead. It turned into a beam of light and flew towards the medicinal garden. Murong Sun hugged empty air and groaned in dissatisfaction. The dragon rabbit also woke up at this time. After it came out, it also turned into a beam of light and rushed towards the medicinal garden. The 2 little gluttons are very young, so they are very sleepy. Only after smelling delicious food will they be excited. Dragon rabbit! You're actually raising a dragon rabbit! Murong Sun exclaimed in surprise. Lin Feng walked towards the herb garden. He looked at Murong Sun and said, I'm telling you, Don't even think about my two little beasts. Murong Sun snorted. Am I that kind of person? Lin Feng asked solemnly. You are. I'll beat you to death for slandering me. Murong Sun screamed and rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng got rid of Murong Sun in a few leaps, and then came to the front of the herb garden. He observed for a moment, and discovered that the medicinal garden originally had restrictions. However, perhaps too much time had passed, so the restrictions of the medicinal garden had basically dissipated. Lin Feng broke the last few weak restrictions, and entered the medicinal garden. A refreshing medicinal fragrance filled the air. In the medicinal garden, there were all kinds of spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits. Many of the spiritual herbs were more than 10,000 years old. King-level herbs that were more than 50,000 years old could be seen everywhere, and there were even many sage herbs that were more than 100,000 years old. In the depths of the medicinal garden, there were 10 immortality peach trees. Lin Feng was shocked when he saw the immortality peach trees. The immortality peach trees were densely packed with immortality peaches. One peach could extend one's life by 3,000 years. That was a treasure. Wow! Immortality peach trees! We're rich! Murong Sun exclaimed excitedly. Bibi and the dragon rabbit were sitting on top of the tree, eating immortality peaches. The two little ones were eating happily, and their stomachs were round. Lin Feng and Murong Sun arrived in front of the 10 immortality peach trees. Murong Sun took out a shovel and a hoe from her storage ring. Lin Feng asked curiously, What are you doing? I'm going to move the immortality peaches and grow them myself. Murong Sun said. Can you grow them? Lin Feng asked. Do you see this soil? It's called immortal jade magic soil. It's used to grow all kinds of spiritual herbs and immortality peach trees. As long as we have this soil, we won't have to worry about the immortality peach trees dying. Murong Sun pointed at the soil under her feet. This kind of soil was very special. It was pitch black in color. Sometimes it would emit strands of immortal qi, and sometimes strands of demonic qi. Every grain of soil was sparkling and translucent, as if they were polished jade. Lin Feng took out a shovel and a hoe. These things were essential for cultivators. After all, they could come across precious spiritual herbs when they were outside. If the roots of some spiritual herbs were destroyed, their medicinal properties would be greatly reduced. Therefore, they needed to use these tools to carefully dig them out. Lin Feng dug out 8 immortality peach trees and a large amount of immortal jade magic soil. After plucking all the immortality peach trees, he planted them in the demonic beads space. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit were also full. They returned to the Imperial Beast pouch and went back to sleep. Lin Feng and Murong Sun continued to pluck spiritual herbs in the herb garden. This time, they really made a fortune by finding the White Crane Boys' dojo. The only pity was that the 9 treasures were taken away by the Taoist. Otherwise, this trip to the White Crane Boys' dojo would be perfect. After plucking the spiritual herbs, Lin Feng and Murong Sun continued to look for a way to go to the primitive secret realm. They found a huge palace in the depths of the palace. The palace's door was tightly shut. Lin Feng and Murong Sun pushed the door open. Buzz, then! A terrifying sword qi shook out. It instantly enveloped Lin Feng and Murong Sun. At that moment, Lin Feng and Murong Sun felt the aura of death enveloping them. Retreat! Lin Feng grabbed Murong Sun and got rid of the terrifying sword qi. They quickly retreated from the area covered by the sword qi. Murong Sun face was slightly pale. She said, What a terrifying sword qi! Is there a peerless divine sword in this palace? Lin Feng nodded solemnly and looked into the depths of the palace. At that moment, he saw 9 palm-sized swords floating in the air. Each of the swords shook slightly. It was as if they could collapse the void. Kaith's treasured swords? Murong Sun also saw the 9 swords and could not help but exclaim. Murong Sun eyes shone brightly. She said, I know, these 9 swords are not only powerful treasures, but they are also the 9 keys to enter the primitive secret realm. Oh? How so? Lin Feng asked. Because the primitive secret realm is surrounded by the power of chaos. It is as difficult as ascending to the heavens to break it open. These chaos-treasured swords should be able to tear apart the power of chaos protecting the primitive secret realm. As long as they tear apart the power of chaos protecting the primitive secret realm, it will be easy to break the barrier of the primitive secret realm and enter it. Murong Sun-er said. As soon as Murong Sun-er finished speaking, the 9 chaos-treasured swords quickly rushed out. Chapter 1547. 9 swords together, open the secret realm! 9 small swords of chaos flew out of the palace as a deep voice reverberated through the clouds. Then, the 9 flying swords quickly flew into the sky. Not good! The 9 tiny swords seemed to be trying to escape. Murong Sun-er's pretty face changed slightly. She quickly took out her 8 trigrams furnace. The 8 trigrams cauldron flew into the air, intending to devour the 9 chaos swords by force. However, the 9 tiny swords of chaos unleashed billions of sword chi and sent the 8 trigrams cauldron flying. What a powerful little primal chaos sword! Lin Feng was shocked when he saw the 9 small primal chaos swords send the 8 trigrams cauldron flying. Lin Feng hurriedly took out his heaven-swallowing jar. The heaven-swallowing jar flew over. What a powerful devouring power! It enveloped the 9 small chaotic swords. Just like the 8 trigrams cauldron, the 9 tiny swords sent the heaven-devouring jar flying. No, he's too strong! Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. After the heaven-devouring jar was sent flying, he quickly flew out. With a wave of his hand, monstrous mana surged out and wrapped around a small chaos sword. Murong Sun-er continued to use her 8 trigrams furnace to collect the small primal chaos swords. This time, Murong Sun-er also locked onto a small primal chaos sword. Lin Feng and Murong Sun-er each took a small chaos sword. Just as he was about to collect the other chaos swords, the other chaos swords had already flown far away. Chase them! These primal chaos swords are priceless treasures! We can't let them escape! Lin Feng quickly chased after him. Murong Sun-er also chased after them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to catch up to the rest of the chaos swords. Those tiny chaotic swords tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. What a pity! Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Right now, there were a total of 3 swords in his revered sword tomb. Black Dragon's Sword. Undying Sword. Sword of Spring and Autumn. The power of the revered sword mound would increase tremendously once it was placed inside. The only pity was that, as of now, he only had 1 chaos sword. These small swords are like the keys to the origin secret realm. We each have a small sword, so we have the keys to enter the origin secret realm. That's the biggest gain from this trip to the White Crane Boys' dojo. Murong Sun-er said. But where is the premier mystic realm? We don't know. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Now that the 7 swords have flown out, they'll definitely be taken by some powerful groups. Those strong cultivators will definitely be able to sense where the origin secret area is. The 9 swords need to be used at the same time to tear the origin secret area apart. Therefore, we don't need to know where the origin secret area is. When the time comes, those people will definitely send people to find us so that we can open the origin secret area with them. Murong Sun-er said. Lin Feng nodded. He left the Immortal Court's secret realm with Murong Sun-er. The White Crane was waiting outside. The 2 of them sat on the White Crane. After the White Crane let out a loud cry, it spread its wings and flew into the distance. After about a day and a half, the White Crane carried Lin Feng and Murong Sun-er to the outer area of the painting world. Whoosh! Lin Feng and Murong Sun-er jumped up and flew out of the painting world. Then, they appeared in the room. As soon as they flew out, the painting scroll spontaneously combusted. Murong Sun-er suddenly shouted. Why is it combusting? Lin Feng said. It seems that the White Crane Boy doesn't want anyone to enter his dojo. Murong Sun-er nodded helplessly. It was night time. Lin Feng saw the bright moon through the window. He looked at Murong Sun-er with a smile and said, It's such a beautiful night. A man and a woman alone in a room. Why don't we turn off the lights and go to sleep? Murong Sun's pretty face turned cold. She stared fiercely at Lin Feng and said fiercely, "Why don't you go die?" Then, she raised her right leg and kicked Lin Feng before running out of the door. Lin Feng smiled. It was quite interesting to tease Murong Sun. Tianao State. Tianao Sect. It was famous. Every year countless people would go to Tianao Sect. Or to ask for immortal medicine. Or to join the sect. There were all kinds of reasons. Therefore, the road to Tianao Sect was extremely lively. Cultivators could be seen passing by everywhere. Tianao town was 38,000 miles away from Tianao Sect. It would take about 5 days to reach by beast carriage. However, it would take some time to pass through an ancient primitive forest where fierce beasts ran rampant. But even if it took some time, it should take about 8 or 9 days to reach Tianao Sect. People came and went into town, and it was very lively. Most of the cultivators here were going to Tianao Sect. Lin Feng was eating in a restaurant. The restaurant was very popular, and it was full every day. Many people were talking about the various rumors they heard. However, no one knew how true these rumors were. There were also many cultivators who were bragging about their relationship with a certain powerful figure. Or they would brag about how many days and nights they had fought with a powerful ferocious beast and finally killed it. This kind of restaurant was a place to gather and brag. At this time, 3 people came to the second floor. One was an old man, and the other 2 were young. The old man should be an old servant, or a housekeeper. He followed behind the 2 young people. The 2 young people were a man and a woman. The man looked about 27 or 28 years old. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He was very handsome. The woman was about 22 or 23 years old. She had an enchanting figure and a delicate oval face. She could be called a rare beauty. "There's no room. Why don't we go somewhere else?" The woman frowned when she saw that the restaurant was full. The man said, "Every restaurant is like this. There are too many people going to Tianao Sect." The man looked around and saw Lin Feng drinking alone. He walked over to Lin Feng's table. "Brother, may I have a table with you?" The man cupped his fists and asked. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Have a seat." "Haha, brother is really forthright. I am Chang Jian, and this is my younger sister, Chang Qianqian. How should I address you?" the man said with a smile. Lin Feng said indifferently, "We met by chance. There's no need to ask for my name." When Chang Qianqian saw that Chang Jian was defeated, she immediately looked at Lin Feng coldly. She wanted to say something, but Chang Jian quickly pulled her back. Chang Jian knew his younger sister's personality. Once she made a scene, it would be difficult to get away. Chapter 1548. Although Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian were siblings, their personalities were completely different. Chang Jian was calm, low-key, and had a sense of propriety. He was highly regarded in the clan. On the other hand, Chang Qianqian had a Missy's temper. She was arrogant, unreasonable, and so on. This time, Chang Jian did not plan to bring Chang Qianqian along. However, Chang Qianqian secretly followed him. After walking for tens of thousands of miles, Chang Qianqian finally appeared. Chang Jian was worried about letting Chang Qianqian go back at this time, so he could only bring his willful sister along. Chang Qianqian listened to her brother more. Therefore, she could only endure it and not find trouble with Lin Feng. She sat at the side angrily. A waiter brought the menu over. Chang Jian casually ordered a few dishes and a pot of wine. After the dishes were served, Chang Jian poured a cup of wine and said, "It's fate that we met. I propose a toast to brother." Lin Feng picked up the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. Chang Qianqian glared at Lin Feng from time to time. She really did not understand why her brother was so polite to someone who looked like a rogue cultivator. As for her clan, no matter what, it was still an ancient power. As the successor of the clan, to be so polite to a rogue cultivator, wasn't this lowering her status? Brother, are you also going to the Tianao sect? Chang Jian could not help but ask. Lin Feng nodded and said, That's right. Lin Feng was a man of few words. Chang Jian was rather curious about Lin Feng's solitary trip to the Tianao sect. Apprenticeship? Or was he seeking medicine? Of course, Chang Jian did not pry into Lin Feng's privacy. This was because Chang Jian knew that prying into other people's privacy would easily cause them to dislike him. Chang Jian said, The two of us are also going to the Tianao sect. Brother, why don't you come with us later? There will be someone to chat with on the way. It won't be too lonely. Lin Feng did not immediately agree. Instead, he calmly said, You don't look like you're going to the Tianao sect to learn martial arts. Why are you heading to the Tianao sect? We're going to the Heavenly Dao sect to ask for medicine. My grandfather is injured and needs a medicinal pill called the Heavenly Jade Han Xian pill to save his life. That's why we're going to the Heavenly Dao sect to ask for such a medicinal pill. Lin Feng nodded. The Tianao sect is a great sect, a holy land for cultivation. It can concoct many precious pills, but it's not easy to ask for medicine. If everyone went to the Tianao sect to ask for medicine, wouldn't the sect be busy to death? At that moment, Chang Qianqian said proudly, We've already contacted a deacon of the Tian Dao sect. He said that he can introduce us to an elder of the Tian Dao sect. At that time, you can also benefit from us and enter the Tian Dao sect. Chang Qianqian's personality was clearly immature. She wanted to show off her abilities, but she did not have any bad intentions. Lin Feng did not pay too much attention to her style of speaking. If an expert like Lin Feng did not have this much tolerance, it would be impossible for him to gain the support of so many cultivators in so many places. In reality, Lin Feng was a very broad-minded person. Chang Jian hurriedly said, Brother, my sister is young and doesn't know any better. If she says something wrong, please don't blame her. Lin Feng smiled. Don't worry, I won't bicker with her. Chang Qianqian was furious. What kind of person is this? Won't bicker with me? He's just a wandering cultivator. His tone was as arrogant as the heavens. She really did not know what this guy had to be so proud of. After the meal, they hurried on their way. Other than Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and the housekeeper, there were also a dozen guards in the Chang clan. Lin Feng sat in the beast carriage at the back with his eyes closed. Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian sat in the beast carriage at the front. Second brother, why are you so polite to that person? He's just a rogue cultivator, yet he acts so high and mighty. We asked him for his name, but he didn't even tell us. Who does he think he is? There's no need to care about this kind of person. Chang Qianqian said. Chang Jian said, You're still young and don't know how to judge people. Although I can't see through this person, I feel that there's something strange about him. He might not be an ordinary person. Although Chang Qianqian did not think that Lin Feng was some big shot. But Chang Qianqian was actually quite convinced by her second brother's ability to judge people. Hearing her second brother say this, she could only nod her head. The beast carriage passed through the primitive forest, and from time to time, they would see many cultivators passing by one after another. On this day, when they were resting, they seemed to be able to see mountains in the distance and fog curling up in spirals. It seemed that they were not far away from the exit. The group was relatively lucky and did not encounter any powerful beasts. We'll be out in another day's journey. That's the immortal mountain where the Heavenly Dao sect is located. It's a holy land for seeking immortality. Chang Jian pointed to the mist-shrouded area in the depths and said. Lin Feng smiled and said, The Heavenly Dao sect can be called a place for seeking immortality, but it can't be said to be a place for seeking immortality. Such a force is like a grain of sand in the Milky Way, it's nothing. A true place for seeking immortality is at least one of the top forces in the ancient times. Brother is experienced and knowledgeable. I've learned a lot. Chang Jian cupped his fists. Lin Feng smiled and said, Walk around more and come into contact with more people. You will know the difference between seeking immortality and seeking immortality. Chang Qianqian, who was at the side, could not help but roll her eyes. She thought to herself, This guy's tone is too arrogant. Does he really think of himself as some kind of powerful person? Chang Qianqian was a little dissatisfied with her second brother, Chang Jian. That guy is obviously the same age as you. Yet he refuted what you said. Isn't he teaching you a lesson? He's a rogue cultivator, and a rogue cultivator of the same generation as you. What right does he have to teach you a lesson? You're a disciple of an aristocratic family. He's not giving you any face. You're still nodding and praising him, humbly accepting his teachings. How disappointing. Chang Qianqian looked at her second brother helplessly. She remembered what her second brother had told her. She didn't want to offend Lin Feng, but she groaned coldly inside. Wait until you're in a place like the Tiandao sect. You're just a small independent cultivator. You'll be at a loss. I'll make fun of you then. You'll never be able to raise your head again. You'll never be able to raise your head again. Thinking of this, Chang Qianqian's mood seemed to improve a lot. A day later, the group finally arrived at the outskirts of the Heavenly Dao sect. Looking into the depths, there was a white mist lingering around the mountains. There was a dragon vein hibernating underground. The Heavenly Dao sect could be considered a rather good cultivation holy land. Lin Feng's mood was very complicated. I haven't seen you for 10 years. I wonder if you're doing well? What will it be like when we meet again? Will we be strangers? Chapter 1549. Seeing Lin Feng lowering his head and not saying anything, Chang Qianqian immediately revealed a smile, because in Chang Qianqian's opinion, Lin Feng was definitely feeling guilty, which was why he didn't say anything. There were people everywhere. There were disciples of the Heavenly Dao sect watching from the side, maintaining order. The old servant came in front of a disciple and handed him a storage bag. It was probably filled with spirit stones. Then, he lowered his head and whispered something. Then, the disciple nodded, gave some instructions to the surrounding disciples, and walked towards the mountain gate. The old servant walked over and said, "Young master, that disciple has already gone to invite Deacon Li." Chang Jian said, "All right, then let's wait here for a while." Chang Qianqian said, "Second brother, I don't know if we can ask for the Tianyuhan Xian pill. Right now, my heart is in turmoil." Chang Jian touched the area below his neck. There was a necklace around his neck. On the necklace, there was a storage ring hanging on his body. Inside this storage ring, there were 10 million top-grade spirit stones. In order to save their grandfather, the Chang clan had also gone all out. They had exchanged a third of their family's wealth for top-grade spirit stones, just to ask for pills. As for more spirit stones, it would be very difficult to take them out. After all, a huge family like the Chang clan required a large amount of funds to operate, and the young and old also required cultivation resources to cultivate. If he were to take out more spirit stones, it would obviously cripple this clan, or even cause it to collapse and never be able to recover. Thus, Chang Jian was also very worried. Could 10 million top-grade spirit stones be enough to ask for the Tianyuhan Xian pill? If he couldn't get it, what should he do? Watch his grandfather die of serious injuries. Thinking of this, Chang Jian's mood also became serious. Perhaps Chang Qianqian had also thought of this point. Her pretty face was slightly pale, and even the thought of going against Lin Feng had disappeared at this moment. Everything depends on human effort. There are many things that need to be done naturally, Lin Feng said. I hope everything goes well, Chang Jian said with a wry smile. At this time, a deacon followed the previous disciple and flew over from afar, landing on the stone steps. This deacon should be the Deacon Li that the old servant had mentioned. This Deacon Li looked to be in his 40s. He had a thin figure and a malicious gaze. He had his hands behind his back and had the posture of a superior. He indifferently glanced at Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and Lin Feng, and said, "Which one of you is Chang Jian? Junior is Chang Jian greets Deacon Li." Chang Jian did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly bowed to Deacon Li, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. He was just a deacon. In the Tian Dao sect, he was just an ordinary deacon. In the eyes of the heavens, people who cultivated in large sections. Their status seemed to always be higher than ordinary forces. And come with me, Deacon Li said. Let's. Chang Jian glanced at Lin Feng and Chang Qian. Who are these two people? Who? Manager Li frowned slightly. This is my younger sister, and this is my good friend. I hope that Deacon Li can make an exception for us, said Lin Feng. Deacon Li frowned. The old servant quickly stuffed a storage pouch into Deacon Li's Deacon Li. It was obviously filled with spirit stones. Deacon Li pondered for a moment, and his expression became slightly better. Your sister can enter. As for this brat, he's just an outsider. He can wait at the foot of the mountain. Not just anyone can enter Tian'ao sect, Deacon Li said arrogantly. Chang Jian smiled bitterly and looked at Lin Feng apologetically. Lin Feng stepped forward and said indifferently, If I want to enter Tian'ao sect, your sect master will have to kneel and welcome me. You're just a mere deacon. How dare you stop me? When Lin Feng said those words, the crowd at the foot of the mountain, which was initially very lively, suddenly became absolutely silent. Everyone stood rooted to the ground in a daze at that instant. Many people could not believe their ears. They thought they had heard wrong. A very young cultivator. He actually dared to say that. If I enter Tian'ao sect, even the sect master will have to kneel and welcome me. Moreover, he said it at the foot of Tian'ao sect. He said this to a Deacon Li of Tian'ao sect. This person was tired of living. So, was he tired of living? This was simply courting death. Many people thought that Lin Feng must be crazy. If he was not crazy, how could he say such words? When Chang Jian and Chang Qian heard Lin Feng's words, they were so scared that their bodies trembled. Both of their faces were as pale as paper. They knew that Lin Feng was in big trouble this time. What did you say? Deacon Li was so angry that he was incoherent. He looked at Lin Feng angrily. Deacon Li, please don't get angry. My friend was just a bit excited after seeing the heavenly Tao sect's might. He said the wrong thing. Deacon Li, please forgive him since he's young and doesn't know any better. Chang Jian hurriedly begged. Lin Feng said. Brother Chang, why do you have to be so humble? Who can stop me from going where I want to go? A mere Tian'ao sect, in my eyes, is nothing more than a speck of dust in the mortal world. Rise and fall, life and death, all within a year of mine. Crazy, this brat is crazy. Oh my God, I've never seen such a man. He's bragging to the heavens. Many people at the foot of the mountain were discussing as they looked at Lin Feng. It was no different from looking at a dead man. They had never seen a man like Lin Feng. Chang Jian and Chang Qian's faces were deathly pale. They knew. Lin Feng said these words. There was no room for reconciliation. Even they might be implicated because of this. The two siblings were trembling in fear. Brat, you're courting death! Deacon Li shouted angrily, and slapped towards Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng coldly snorted, and took a step forward. His divine might spread for 100,000 li. It was as if a god had descended. Deacon Li couldn't take it, and knelt on the ground with a plop. Everyone at the foot of the mountain couldn't withstand the pressure emitted by Lin Feng's body. Plop, plop, countless people knelt on the ground. Other than Chang Jian, Chang Qian, and the old servant, no one else could stand. Lin Feng walked towards the Tian'ao sect. An old friend has come to visit. Where is Lanro? Lin Feng shouted softly. His voice resounded throughout the entire Tian'ao sect. Who dares to barge into my Tian'ao sect? Angry shouts resounded as the Tian'ao sect's elders all flew out of the elders' hall. They looked at Lin Feng, who was walking up the stone steps, and couldn't help but shout angrily. Ants and dogs, how dare you speak so loudly in front of me? Lin Feng shouted coldly, and with a step, his body appeared in midair. Hundreds of Tian'ao sect's elders lost control of their bodies and fell to the ground one by one, kneeling on both knees. Who are you? The hundreds of kneeling Tian'ao sect's elders looked at Lin Feng, who was like a god in midair, in horror as they asked in trembling voices. Chapter 1550. Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a god. Their hearts were filled with shock. Chang Jian felt that Lin Feng might not be a simple person. However, Chang Jian had never thought that Lin Feng would be so powerful. Was he a god? Chang Qianqian was also shocked. She had always thought that Lin Feng was too arrogant and self-righteous. However, she only knew now how wrong she was. Such a powerful person, it should be a great honor for the siblings to be able to eat at the same table and talk to them, right? Humph. At that moment, a cold snort came from the depths of the Tianao sect. You barged into my Tianao sect and forced my grand elder to kneel. Don't you think you've gone too far? The voice was very old. It should be an ancestor of the Tianao sect. It's the old sect master. The kneeling grand elders of the Tianao sect cried out excitedly. Perhaps in their opinion, the old sect master must have a way to deal with Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. This is a world where the strong make the rules. Everything I do is reasonable. I'll ask again, where is Lanro? Why are you looking for Lanro? The old sect master's voice sounded again. It's been 10 years. Do I need to explain myself to you when I want to see an old friend? Who do you think you are? Do you think you're worthy of asking me questions? Lin Feng's voice was indifferent. The expressions of the people of the Tianao sect changed. Lin Feng's words could be said to be extremely arrogant. He didn't put the old sect master in his eyes at all. Obviously, Lin Feng had come this time. He didn't come with good intentions. Since Lanro doesn't want to come out, I'll find her myself. Lin Feng's voice was cold as he walked toward the Tianao sect. The old sect master was furious to be looked down upon and humiliated by Lin Feng, but he knew that it was best not to offend someone like Lin Feng. Unless he could kill him. If he couldn't kill the other party, there would be endless disasters. The old sect leader suppressed the anger in his heart and said, Lan Ra is not in the sect. You should leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for not warning you. If you come forward again, you may lose your life. Ha ha! How laughable! A mere heavenly Tao sect is nothing more than a mediocre sect in my eyes. How dare you say you can make me lose my life? Lin Feng laughed out loud. He continued to walk towards the heavenly Tao sect. Sect protector, someone is threatening the safety of the heavenly Tao sect. Please wake up and protect the safety of the heavenly Tao sect. The old sect master's voice rang out. Rumble. At this moment, the 4 huge statues in front of Tianao sect's mountain gate began to shake violently. These were the 4 divine statues. The first statue on the left had divine swords in their hands. They had protected the heavenly Tao sect for countless years. Many Tianao sect disciples only thought that this was an ordinary stone statue. However, only the successive sect masters of the Tianao sect knew about it. These 4 statues had a great history. These 4 statues were the 4 ancestors of the heavenly Tao sect. These 4 ancestors were not the founders of the heavenly Tao sect, but they were the protectors of the heavenly Tao sect. Back then, the heavenly Tao sect was in danger of being destroyed. It was these 4 ancestors. They turned the tide. Later, the 4 ancestors collected countless materials and created these 4 statues to guard the heavenly Tao sect. Unless the sect was in danger of being destroyed. Or else. They definitely couldn't awaken the 4 statues. And today, in the eyes of the old sect leader, Lin Feng was a terrifying existence that could destroy the heavenly Tao sect. He didn't know how Lan Ra had angered such a terrifying person. But obviously, the hatred had long been formed. Now, it wasn't just a few words. It could be said clearly. Now they could only fight. Swish. Swish. The 4 statues opened their eyes. Waves of divine power were emitted from the 4 statues. The 4 deity statues stepped into the void, emitting a terrifying aura. Sir, it's not too late to leave. The heavenly Tao sect doesn't want to be your enemy, the old sect leader said. If you don't want to be my enemy, let Lan Ra come out. Don't awaken the 4 statues to deal with me. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Sir, you came with hostility. This old man had no choice but to do this, the old sect leader said. What you did is done. There's no need to find a reason to explain. Lin Feng raised his right hand and slapped towards the 4 statues. Boom! The 4 statues exploded. Each of them was overflowing with divine power. God! 4 gods! Many people looked at the 4 statues in horror. Those were definitely statues that had reached the god realm. They were extremely terrifying. The cultivators of the Heavenly Tao sect looked at the 4 statues with excitement. In their eyes, the 4 god-level guardian statues. They could definitely defeat Lin Feng. The 4 statues displayed extraordinary battle prowess. Lin Feng felt that these 4 statues were very similar to puppets. Under normal circumstances, after the puppet was successfully refined, its cultivation wouldn't weaken for many years. Just like Lin Feng's 3 poisonous puppets. For statues, it should be the same refining method. The 4 statues surrounded Lin Feng. The statue in front of him threw a punch. This divine ability was called 10,000 Gods Demon Breaking Fist. He punched out, and the shadows of countless Tao gods appeared behind him. The statue on the left used a divine ability called Death Confinement Slash. It condensed a terrifying killing light that tore through the world and slashed towards Lin Feng. The statue on the right used a divine ability called 9 Heavenly Strikes. 9 consecutive rays of destructive light blasted towards Lin Feng. The statue at the back used a divine ability called Star God Splitting Technique. These 4 divine abilities each had their own merits. Each divine ability was the top secret technique of the Heavenly Tao sect. That guy definitely won't be able to withstand the attacks of the 4 guardian statues. Sensing the battle prowess of the 4 statues, the cultivators of the Heavenly Tao sect became excited and confident. The rest of the cultivators looked up at the sky. They were all filled with shock as they looked at the battle in the sky. They didn't know who would win this battle. Would it be the young god? Or would it be the 4 guardian statues of the Heavenly Tao sect? Just 4 guardian statues, and you dare to act so fierce in front of me? You're overestimating yourself. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He raised his right hand and used the Great Calamity technique. Rumble, a loud sound shook the sky. Endless power of calamity surged out. A long river of calamity. It condensed in the void. Then, the long river of calamity swept towards the 4 statues. In an instant, the 4 statues that attacked Lin Feng, they were instantly swallowed by the long river of calamity. The 4 statues began to struggle violently in the long river of calamity. However, no matter how they struggled, they couldn't break free from the long river of calamity. How could this be? Countless people of the Heavenly Tao sect looked at the scene in the sky in horror. The 4 idols were like ordinary people who were drowning. Crack! 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 Cracking sounds could be heard as the 4 statues all shattered. The broken statues fell towards the ground. They turned into 4 piles of ruins. Seeing this scene, everyone from the Heavenly Tao sect had ashen faces. Chapter 1551. Lin Feng was like an immortal god, standing in the air, looking in all directions, like a demon or a god. The 4 statues were instantly destroyed by Lin Feng. This was too frightening. The entire world became silent. Lin Feng descended on the square of the Tiannao sect. There were 36 elders of the Tiannao sect sitting cross-legged there. The person in the lead was the old sect leader of the Tiannao sect, Tan Qin Shan. Now, these elders of the Tiannao sect were as pale as a sheet. Why? We have no enmity with you. Why are you targeting our Tiannao sect? Until now, Tan Qin Shan still did not understand why Lin Feng was targeting the Tiannao sect. He did not even know who Lin Feng was. In the past, I brought my maid Ziyuan with me and was seen by your sect's Lan Re. Lan Re took a fancy to Ziyuan's talent, and wanted to kill me. A disciple of the Tiannao sect called Wang Ziyu knew about this and wanted to let me go, but was killed by Lan Re. 10 years have passed, but I still haven't forgotten about this. Lin Feng stood in the square with his hands behind his back. He was floating like an immortal. 10 years had passed. He was no longer the weak youth from back then. Now, he was the ruler of the world. Don't bully the young for being poor. Most of the time, this was not an empty sentence. When one was young and weak, it did not mean that one would be weak in the future. However, too many people did not understand the meaning of this sentence. So that's how it is, so that's how it is. Tan Qingshan's face was pale as he knelt on the ground and said, Lan Ruo has committed a heinous crime, and I'm willing to accept it on her behalf. Today, I'll die to atone for my crimes. Please forgive the Tian Dao sect for the past 10 years. Old sect leader! More than 30 elders sounded sorrowful. Lan Ruo, you are you. You don't need to atone for her sins. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Tan Qingshan said, Lan Ruo has already left the Tianwu continent. It is difficult for you to find her now. Left the Tianwu continent? Lin Feng frowned slightly. Qingshan said, Originally, the Sky Martial Continent was only one of the 9 continents of the 9 continents, the Sky Martial Continent. But for some reason, it was separated and looked at each other across the sea. Our Sky Martial Continent's Heavenly Dao sect was a branch of the 9 continents' Heavenly Dao sect, and because of the separation of the continents, we lost contact with the main branch. Half a year ago, the cultivators of the 9 continents' Heavenly Dao sect came to the Sky Martial Continent, and we re-established contact with the people of the main branch. Then, the people of the main branch selected more than 30 talented young cultivators from the sect, and also selected a few female cultivators to take care of these young cultivators. Among the selected disciples was Ziyuan, and Lan Ruo was one of the female cultivators who took care of these talented disciples. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He didn't expect something like this to happen. He was half a year late. Now, Ziyuan should already be on the way to the 9 regions. In the vast sea, where could he find them? There was also Lan Ruo, that vicious woman. Who would have thought that he would be so lucky to be chosen by someone from the main branch of the Tiandao sect? Since you haven't mistreated Ziyuan all these years, I will spare the Tiandao sect today so that you can continue to pass on your legacy. Lin Feng said indifferently. Thank you, young master. Thank you, young master. Hearing this, Tan Qingshan and the others thanked him profusely. Tiandao sect. They were finally safe. Lin Feng waved his hand, and a ball of magic power surged out and wrapped around Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and the old servant. The 3 of them landed on the square of the Tiandao sect. Chang Jian and I have some fate. He came to the Tiandao sect to ask for a kind of pill called the Tianyuhan Xian pill. Do you have it? Lin Feng asked. Tan Qingshan hurriedly said, Although we don't have this kind of pill, our sect has the pill formula. We can start refining the pill, and we can finish refining it in 49 days. Alright, you 2 siblings can wait in the Tiandao sect for 49 days. Lin Feng looked at Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian as he said this. Originally, the siblings were worried about the Tianyuhan Xian pill. Now, Lin Feng had solved their problem with a single sentence. At this moment, Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian were full of gratitude towards Lin Feng. The 2 of them thanked him profusely. You may dispense with the formalities. Lin Feng waved his hand and took a step forward. He had already passed through the void and disappeared without a trace. What kind of person is he? Chang Qianqian saw Lin Feng leave and felt a sense of loss. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. It would be a great honor to stay by such a young master's side as a servant, right? What a joke. She probably didn't even have the qualifications to be that young master's servant, right? After Lin Feng left the Tiandao sect, he went directly to the 72 prefectures in the north. When he arrived, Lin Feng saw the dilapidated ancient cities and couldn't help but sigh. Many places that used to be bustling and prosperous were now filled with malicious spirits. He went to the desolate region and arrived at the Blue Cloud sect. The current Blue Cloud sect was already in ruins. The once lively training ground was now empty. Even after so many years, the ground and mountains that were stained red with blood did not fade away. Lin Feng walked in front of the 12 peaks. I still remember that Elder Qiao Yunxiu chose me to enter the heaven-mending peak. At that time, Tian Zhongdao, the old drunkard, Fan Qin, Yu Ziyang, and the others were also chosen to enter the heaven-mending peak. Tian Zhongdao and the old drunkard left the Blue Cloud sect and weren't affected by the calamity. Lin Feng's heart was heavy. This place buried his friends from the past. It also buried the elders who treated him as their own. Grand Elder Zhang Quan, Grand Elder Qiao Yunqiu, Grand Elder Guiyin, and other elders. These elders were very close to Lin Feng. But now, they were buried deep in the earth. Lin Feng was very sad. When the calamity happened, he was powerless to reverse it. Huangfu Qi Tian. Thinking of this name, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel murderous. If it wasn't for Huangfu Qi Tian, this calamity could have been avoided. The tragedy of the 72 northern states wouldn't have happened. His fellow disciples, friends, and elders who were kind to him wouldn't have died tragically in that calamity. Lin Feng looked up at the sky. It was red as if the sky was dyed red with blood. He poured 3 cups of wine for his fellow disciples, friends, and elders who died. Sooner or later, I will use Huangfu Qingtian's blood as an offering to your souls in heaven. Lin Feng stayed in the Blue Cloud sect for a long time. He couldn't calm down for a long time. In the end, Lin Feng left and flew towards the East Sea. He passed by many states along the way. Cultivators began to appear one after another in the originally desolate and uninhabited states. New residents also began to appear in some cities. They stood on their own feet in the midst of destruction. They were reborn in the midst of destruction. Lin Feng finally smiled. Perhaps one day, the 72 northern states would be able to return to their former liveliness. When he passed through an ancient forest, Lin Feng saw a group of mercenaries besieging a 9-headed flame python. Those mercenaries had obviously underestimated the 9-headed flame python's strength. Now more than 100 mercenaries had died, and there were only about 300 or 400 left. This mercenary group had suffered heavy casualties, and from the current situation, it was very likely that they would be wiped out under the attack of the 9-headed flame python. Chapter 1552. The 9-headed flame python's strength was not particularly strong. It was roughly equivalent to the 7th or 8th layer of the creation realm. However, compared to the mercenaries, this beast was too powerful. After all, among the mercenaries, there were very few powerful cultivators. Those cultivators with powerful cultivations also disdained to be mercenaries. Casually finding a large force to be a consecrator would earn more than being a mercenary. Moreover, they lived a carefree life. They also had a relatively high status. In any world, the status of a mercenary was relatively low. Now, this group of mercenaries was constantly dying under the attacks of the 9-headed flame python, but no one could stop the 9-headed flame python. Lin Feng was not a savior. Moreover, he was just a stranger to this group of mercenaries. Therefore, Lin Feng did not intend to help. He was about to leave when he heard a shout. "Retreat! Hurry up and retreat!" This was the voice of a woman. When he heard this voice, Lin Feng felt that it was somewhat familiar. He turned his head and saw a valiant female cultivator wearing dark purple chainmail and men's clothes. When he saw the female cultivator, Lin Feng was slightly stunned. No matter what, he never thought that he would see this woman in this place. Sun Shitong. A woman he had not seen for more than 10 years. Back then, the ancient battlefield of gods and demons opened. Lin Feng and Sikong Jiayue entered the ancient battlefield of gods and demons to train together. When they entered the ancient battlefield of gods and demons, they were ambushed. Someone wanted to kill Lin Feng and Sikong Jiayue and take their storage rings. The person who ambushed them was called Lu Wuqing. This person was injured by Lin Feng, thus forming a grudge between the two sides. Later, Lu Wuqing found his second senior sister Sun Shitong to take revenge, but he could not do anything to Lin Feng. Instead, he was chased by Lin Feng. After capturing Sun Shitong, Lin Feng did not kill Sun Shitong. Lin Feng had always been a gentle person, so he basically would not kill beautiful female cultivators. As for how to deal with beautiful female cultivators, everyone knew. After that incident, Lin Feng never saw Sun Shitong again. He did not expect that after 12 or 13 years, he would see Sun Shitong again. The current Sun Shitong was as beautiful as ever. But compared to before, she had a more mature charm. She actually managed to survive that calamity. Lin Feng's mood was complicated. Sun Shitong's sect was also one of the sects in the 72 northern states. Lin Feng did not know which sect it was, but Lin Feng guessed that it should be an ancient-level sect. That catastrophe, the 72 states of the northern states. Those who survived. Very few. It was naturally not easy for Sun Shitong to survive. However, Sun Shitong had become a mercenary. It seemed that her sect had been destroyed, and in order to survive, she had become a mercenary. Who, at this time, the nine-headed giant flame python opened its bloody mouth and spat out a fire attack that filled the sky. The flames spat out by the nine-headed giant flame python turned into a dense fireball, which smashed towards the mercenaries. Bang, bang, bang! Fireballs of light bombarded the mercenaries, and when they exploded, many of the mercenaries were either killed or injured. Go to hell! Seeing this scene, Sun Shitong roared angrily. Holding a short blade in each hand, she quickly rushed toward the nine-headed blazing giant python. Leader, be careful! Many mercenaries cried out in alarm. All of you, retreat quickly! Sun Shitong shouted. The rest of the mercenaries quickly retreated with the wounded. Sun Shitong quickly came under the flame Sun Shitong and slashed at the flame Sun Shitong's body with the short blade in her hand. But when the short blade cut the flame Sun Shitong's body, suddenly sparks flew everywhere. Sun Shitong's attack could not break the flame Sun Shitong's defense. Bang! The flame Sun Shitong's huge head swung violently. It hit Sun Shitong directly. Sun Shitong was sent flying. Her face was as pale as paper. Her body was still in midair. The flame Sun Shitong had already opened its bloody mouth and swallowed Sun Shitong. Leader! Many mercenaries were enraged when they saw this scene, and they rushed toward the nine-headed blazing python. But the flame Sun Shitong's huge tail suddenly swept. Suddenly, many of the mercenaries were sent flying. Some of the weaker mercenaries were killed by this attack. The flame Sun Shitong was about to be swallowed by the flame Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong found that she could not avoid it. Her face was pale and full of despair. At this time, Sun Shitong suddenly felt that her waist was held by a big hand. She turned around and saw a man hugging her willowy waist. The man raised his left hand and slashed out a beam of sword chi. The powerful nine-headed blazing python was directly killed. Sun Shitong was shocked. This person was so powerful. At this time, she came back to her senses and quickly pushed Lin Feng away. It seems that you did not recognize me. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. What happened in the past was already 12 or 13 years ago. Lin Feng also changed from a teenager to a young man. His appearance had also changed. After more than 10 years, it was not easy to recognize him immediately. Well, this way, there will be less fetters, Lin Feng said to himself and turned to leave. It's you! At this time, Sun Shitong's voice trembled slightly. Lin Feng stopped and turned to look at Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. She did recognize Lin Feng. When she saw Lin Feng for the first time, she felt that he was somewhat familiar. Wasn't he the guy that she had not forgotten for more than 10 years? Her pure body was taken away by this man in a stream. How many times had she wanted to take revenge? But as time passed, her hatred for Lin Feng seemed to have lessened. It might be difficult for a woman to always hate the man who took her first time. And when the catastrophe came, her fellow disciples, elders, relatives, all died. It was like the end of the world. Sun Shitong escaped with difficulty. Then, in order to survive, she became a mercenary. Every day, in order to survive, she racked her brains. The hatred of the past had long faded away. Perhaps, only in the middle of the night would she sometimes think of that man. They would think about whether he had died in that calamity. Sometimes, she would feel very sad. A person's life was filled with too many uncertain things. She did not know when the catastrophe would come. Until one day, when Sun Shitong thought that she would die tragically under the fangs of the nine-headed flame python, the man who had disappeared for more than 10 years appeared in front of her. Sun Shitong found that she did not hate him. Instead, she was somewhat happy. Too many people had died in the 72 states in the north. She felt that it was really good to see that Lin Feng was still alive in this world. Chapter 1553. Lin Feng said, "This isn't the place to talk. Come with me." Sun Shitong bit her lips and gave some instructions to the mercenaries around her. Then, she followed behind Lin Feng and walked into the distance. Many mercenaries were discussing among themselves, trying to guess the relationship between Lin Feng and their leader. No matter how they looked at it, it seemed like something had happened between the two of them that no one knew about. After walking into a dense forest, Lin Feng stopped. He took out a pill and handed it to Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong gently turned her head, but she did not accept Lin Feng's pill. Perhaps she did not hate Lin Feng anymore. However, Lin Feng was still the man who had taken her first time. Thus, when facing Lin Feng, Sun Shitong still acted more reserved. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and opened Sun Shitong's mouth. He stuffed the pill in and said, "You're injured. If you don't take the pill, your injuries will only worsen. I'm not anyone to you. Why do you care?" Sun Shitong pushed Lin Feng away and said. However, she did not let down Lin Feng's good intentions and swallowed the pill. Lin Feng said, "No matter what, we've been husband and wife in the open. Isn't it normal for me to care about you?" Hearing Lin Feng speak so bluntly, Sun Shitong was angry, annoyed, and embarrassed. She pulled out her dagger and glared fiercely at Lin Feng. "You still remember what happened so many years ago? Do you know that I've always wanted to kill you?" She pressed the dagger against Lin Feng's neck. Lin Feng did not dodge. Instead, he said, "I don't believe you. I don't feel any killing intent from you." Sun Shitong gritted her teeth and said, "Don't think that I don't dare to kill you." Lin Feng snatched the dagger from Sun Shitong's hand and threw it on the ground. He then grabbed Sun Shitong's waist. "You bastard, let go of me!" Sun Shitong immediately began to struggle. "When old lovers meet, is there a need to shout and kill like this? I think we should get closer to each other," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Who's your old lover?" "You shameless bastard!" Sun Shitong gritted her teeth and said. "Who else could it be other than you?" Lin Feng smiled and looked at Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong glared hatefully at Lin Feng and said, "If you don't let go, I'll kill you." Lin Feng gently stroked Sun Shitong's hair and face as he sighed and said, "It must have been hard on you for so many years." Hearing Lin Feng's words of concern, Sun Shitong's struggle instantly weakened a lot. It had indeed been too hard on her all these years. His fellow disciples, elders, friends, and relatives were all dead. She was the only one left. Moreover, she was a beautiful female cultivator. It was even more difficult for a lone beautiful female cultivator to survive. "You don't have to worry about me." Sun Shitong turned her face away. Lin Feng said, "Of course I have to worry about you. I'm not anyone to you." "You don't have the right to worry." Sun Shitong wanted to push Lin Feng away. But she couldn't push Lin Feng away. Perhaps, Sun Shitong didn't really want to leave this embrace that she could rely on. Just like before. When facing the nine-headed blazing python, Sun Shitong had no one to rely on. She could only rely on herself, but there were many things that a woman like her couldn't handle. Lin Feng had appeared in the nick of time to save her, he had protected her, he had killed the nine-headed serpent, and then he had taken care of her. He had even given her a pill to heal her injuries. Maybe that was what she needed to rely on. "You're my woman, is that enough?" Lin Feng directly carried Sun Shitong and walked into the small forest. "Put me down, what are you going to do to me? You bastard." Half an hour later, Sun Shitong followed Lin Feng out of the room, her face flushed red. The way to deal with women was actually very simple. That was to do it once. If it was something that couldn't be solved after doing it once, then do it twice. This was a truth that had never changed since ancient times. Of course, the premise was that the woman had an ambiguous relationship with you. If it was a stranger, if you wanted to do it, you would be acting like a hooligan. That would be a crime. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. Thinking of what had just happened, she still felt her face burning. What's your name? Sun Shitong asked faintly. She didn't even know the name of the man she had lost her virginity to twice. Your man is called Lin Feng. Sun Shitong spat, but she felt a little happy in her heart. She had a man? And it was a man she could rely on. However, Sun Shitong quickly felt that this name was very familiar. She suddenly thought of a few years ago, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army whose name shook the sky martial continent seemed to be called Lin Feng. Lin Feng. 2 years ago, the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army and the Demon's Slave Army fought. The leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army was also called Lin Feng, but it was said that he died together with the Sky Demon. Why are you also called Lin Feng? Sun Shitong asked doubtfully, but she did not connect Lin Feng with the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army. Firstly, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng, had already fallen. This was something that everyone in the Sky Martial Continent knew. Secondly, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng, was in existence that could fight against gods. As for her man, Lin Feng, although his strength was not bad, he was still too young. He was even younger than her by a few years. Compared to gods, she was afraid that he was thousands of miles away. No matter how she thought of it, it was impossible to connect the two, Lin Feng, to the same person. Sun Shitong said, "In this world, there are many people with the same name and surname. Was my question just now very stupid?" Lin Feng grabbed Sun Shitong's hand and pulled her to his side. He caressed Sun Shitong's beautiful face and kissed her on the forehead. "You're not stupid. Your man is much stronger than you think," said Lin Feng, taking her hand and pulling her to his side. "You're not stupid. Your man is much stronger than you think." Sun Shitong blushed and nodded. "Go back and see if your subordinates have finished cleaning up the battlefield," Lin Feng said. It's all your fault, for wasting so much time." Sun Shitong immediately bit her lips, her face so red that it seemed like blood would drip out. A man and a woman had left for so long. They had gone to do something. This was something that could be easily guessed. Now, the prestige I established in front of them is about to crumble. Sun Shitong bit her lips. Isn't a very normal thing? Your prestige was obtained by protecting them with your life. How could they stop respecting you just because you have a man? You don't have to worry about personal gains and losses," Lin Feng said. Sun Shitong was much more confident now. The two of them walked towards the mercenary group. In the distance, they saw over 1,000 mercenaries surrounding Sun Shitong's subordinates. The two sides seemed to be in conflict. "You want to kill me and steal my treasures?" Lin Feng frowned slightly. Killing people to steal treasures was a common thing. The 9-headed python was extremely valuable, and Sun Shitong's side only had about 300 people left. Many of them were injured, while the enemy had over 1,000 people. When they saw the 9-headed python, they wanted to kill them and steal their treasures. It was a very normal thing. Chapter 1554. Sun Shitong became anxious when she saw the situation. She quickly flew over. "That silly woman, she's always rushing forward." Lin Feng shook his head and quickly followed her. He couldn't bear to see Sun Shitong suffer. Soon, the two arrived at the place of conflict. "Zhang Chang, why did you bring so many people to surround us? What do you want?" Sun Shitong clearly knew the leader of the mercenaries and couldn't help but ask coldly. The leader of the mercenaries had a centipede-like scar on his face, making him look extremely ugly. He was the Zhang Chang that Sun Shitong had mentioned. When Zhang Chang saw Sun Shitong coming over, a lustful glint flashed in his eyes. Hee. Leader Sun, I was just about to ask you to be the judge. Our Heavenseek mercenary group went through untold hardships and lost dozens of brothers to severely injure this nine-headed flame python. However, this nine-headed flame python retaliated before it died and escaped without a trace. We chased it all the way here, only to see your subordinates taking advantage of the dead nine-headed flame python. Leader Sun, please be the judge. Shouldn't this nine-headed flame python be returned to us? You're shameless. In order to deal with this nine-headed flame python, we lost more than 200 brothers. Sun Shitong said angrily. She didn't tell them that the nine-headed flame python was killed by Lin Feng. She was mainly worried that Lin Feng would be involved in this matter. Zhang Chang had a powerful background. They couldn't afford to offend him. Even if Lin Feng's cultivation wasn't bad, in Sun Shitong's opinion, only death awaited him after offending Zhang Chang. Haha, who can prove what you said? Can you find a witness for me? If you can't find a witness, this nine-headed flame python will be ours. You don't have any objections, right? If you do, you can say it. At most, we'll fight, and the winner will get it. How about it? Zhang Chang laughed loudly. Sun Shitong and her subordinates were livid with anger. Zhang Chang's words were simply too shameless. Fight? How could they fight? They had more than 1,000 people. Sun Shitong had 300 people, and many of them were injured. This was simply bullying. However, even if he bullied you, you have to be patient too. Looking at Sun Shitong's ashen face, Zhang Chang chuckled and said, I told you long ago that as a woman, you should find a man to rely on. Follow me to the grove now and serve me well. Then I'll give you the nine-headed python. How about it? You're shameless. Sun Shitong was so angry that her pretty face turned livid. Haha, we'll know if I'm shameless or not when we get to the forest. Zhang Chang laughed lewdly. His eyes fiercely scraped Sun Shitong's hot body, and he swallowed his saliva from time to time. Haha, once Big Brother is done enjoying himself, will we be able to enjoy ourselves? The rest of the mercenaries laughed as well. Reckless. Lin Feng's expression suddenly darkened. At this time, Zhang Chang finally noticed Lin Feng. Suddenly, his eyes became gloomy, and he sneered. I originally thought that you, Sun Shitong, were a chaste woman. Just now, you came with this brat, and your face was flushed. Who doesn't know what you've done? Ha ha ha, this brat is just a gigolo, he's definitely not good in the field of men and women. If it were me, I'd make sure that you'd want to do it a second time. Sun Shitong was so angry that her whole body was trembling. At this moment, this Zhang Chang, in Lin Feng's eyes, was already on his kill list. How dare you insult my woman? Nobody in this world can save your life, said Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng looked at Zhang Chang indifferently. Ha ha! What is this gigolo saying? Zhang Chang obviously didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes, and immediately shouted in disdain. This gigolo said that no one in this world can save you, boss. Has this gigolo lost his mind? A group of mercenaries started to clamor. Sun Shitong was afraid that Lin Feng would offend Zhang Chang, so she hastily grabbed Lin Feng's arm and whispered, Don't offend those people, they're from Tianwen City. The leader of Tianwen City, Chuwen Tian, is a cultivator from the continent of the 9 continents. We can't afford to offend him. We don't want the nine-headed python, just give it to them. Looking at Sun Shitong's pale face, her frightened and worried expression, Lin Feng really felt sorry for her. He patted Sun Shitong's face and said, It's not about a mere nine-headed flame python, do you understand? It's because this bastard dared to insult you. You're Lin Feng's woman, and no one in this world can bully you. No matter who it is, if they bully you, I'll make them die without a burial ground. Brat, who do you think you are? You dare to act tough in front of me? Brothers, kill this brat for me. Zhang Chang's face was filled with a sinister smile. Yes. Big brother. Immediately, a group of mercenaries answered. Then, these mercenaries rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his right hand and pressed down on the air. Buzz, a palm the size of 100 mu condensed and shot towards the thousands of mercenaries. When the huge hand of energy pressed down, Yi Zichen was stunned. Everyone was shocked to find that they were unable to move. Zhang Chang originally had a high and mighty expression. Now, he was as pale as a sheet of paper. He cried out in fear, "You can't kill me, my primordial spirit lamp is in Heaven-Seeking City, my brother-in-law is a lieutenant of Heaven-Seeking City's Heaven-Seeking Army, if you kill me, my brother-in-law won't let you off, and you're dead for sure." Bang! Lin Feng did not answer him. What answered him was the huge energy palm. It descended from the sky. It smashed down. Zhang Chang and the thousands of mercenaries were all smashed into meat paste by the energy palm. So strong. Sun Shitong's subordinates were all extremely shocked. They were all guessing what cultivation level Lin Feng was at. Just now, when Lin Feng killed the 9-headed raging flame python, it had already brought them a deep shock. But now, he had killed over 1,000 mercenaries, including Zhang Chang, with a single palm strike, which brought them even greater shock. One had to know. Zhang Chang himself was an expert, and his strength was probably much stronger than the 9-headed raging flame python. Furthermore, Zhang Chang's mercenary group also had 7 or 8 of his sworn brothers. Those people were all unfathomable and not weaker than Zhang Chang. However, under Lin Feng's attack, they didn't even have the strength to resist and were instantly killed. Could it be that this young master has the strength of a rebirth realm cultivator? Many of Sun Shitong's subordinates could not help but guess. Thinking that Lin Feng might be a rebirth realm cultivator, these people's faces were filled with incomparable shock. At such a young age, he was already a rebirth realm cultivator? In the future, he might even become a god. Chapter 1555. The Heaven-Seeking City was located in the Xian Prefecture, one of the 72 prefectures in the north. This ancient city was built on the foundation of the Xian Prefecture's first ancient capital, Xuandu. The owner, Chu Wentian, had crossed the endless sea from the 9 prefectures. Furthermore, he had brought many experts with him. This Chu Wentian was quite a character. After coming to the Sky Martial Continent, he had quietly nurtured his own power. He had started from the desolate 72 prefectures in the north. He had created the Heaven-Seeking City, the Heaven-Seeking Legion, and then occupied 29 of the 72 prefectures in the north. Later on, the other powers regained their senses and began to occupy the other prefectures in the north. However, it was already too late. Currently, the strongest power in the 72 prefectures was the Heaven-Seeking City. Countless experts had come to seek refuge with Chu Wentian. Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was a rebirth realm expert, and was considered a peak expert in the Sky Martial Continent. Thus, Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was very trusted by Chu Wentian. Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was called Ma Tianyuan, and was originally one of the few sovereigns in the North Sea. Now, he was the commander of the Heaven-Seeking Legion's 3rd Legion. As for the Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group, it was not established by Chu Wentian. Chu Wentian did not have the time to care about such small matters. The Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group was established by the 5 commanders of the Heaven-Seeking Legion. Their goal was to amass wealth. Zhang Chan had become a leader of the Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group through his relationship with his brother-in-law, Ma Tianyuan. Normally, he acted like a tyrant, but now, he had been killed. In the Heaven-Seeking City's Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall, there was Zhang Chang's Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall. Originally, his Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall did not have the qualifications to be placed here. It was only because of his brother-in-law, Ma Tianyuan, that his Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall was placed here. Several servants were cleaning the Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall when Zhang Chang's Elemental Spirit Lamp shattered. This frightened the servants. They hurriedly went to look for the elder of the hall. The elder then reported the matter, and many of the Heaven-Seeking Legion's upper echelons arrived. The 3rd Legion's commander said, "Commander Ma, isn't this Zhang Chang your brother-in-law?" Ma Tianyuan nodded gloomily and cupped his fists. He is indeed my brother-in-law. The 3rd Legion's commander was a deity who had followed Chu Wentian from the 9 prefectures, and his expression was gloomy. From his point of view, this was not a problem of Zhang Chang alone. Zhang Chang was from the heaven-seeking city. If you want to beat a dog, you have to look at its owner. Killing Zhang Chang, was this not giving the heaven-seeking city any face? This was the reason why the 3rd Legion commander was so angry. The 3rd Army commander said, "Since he's your brother-in-law, I'll leave this matter to you. Remember, no one can challenge the dignity of my heaven-seeking city." "Yes, my lord. I'll go to the Complete Sky Palace and use the Complete Sky Mirror to see what happened back then. Then I'll lead some people to deal with it. I'm sure you'll be satisfied," Ma Tianyuan said. "All right, go ahead." The commander of the 3rd Legion waved his hand. After killing Zhang Chang and the others, Lin Feng asked Sun Shitong's subordinates to collect the storage rings of Zhang Chang and the others. The things in Zhang Chang's storage rings weren't attractive to Lin Feng, but to these mercenaries, they were extremely tempting. However, Sun Shitong had a worried look on her face. Lin Feng had killed Zhang Chang, which made her extremely worried. One Zhang Chang might not be a threat. The key was the power behind Zhang Chang. That was the heaven-seeking city. What good would come of offending the heaven-seeking city? "You guys can disperse. Don't follow me anymore, or you'll be killed." Sun Shitong looked at her subordinates. No matter what, Sun Shitong wouldn't leave Lin Feng. She had made up her mind. No matter what danger they faced, they would face it together with Lin Feng. However, she couldn't bear to see these subordinates who had followed her for so many years hide. In the end, they might even die. Lin Feng watched this scene from the side, but he didn't interrupt. Although he had displayed extraordinary strength, Sun Shitong clearly felt that he was still far from being able to contend against the heaven-seeking city. So what if he was in the rebirth realm? In front of the heaven-seeking city. He was still an ant. "Commander, let's not leave. Let's go to another continent. If we leave the heaven-seeking city's territory, they won't be able to find us. Moreover, this young master is already so strong at such a young age. In the future, he will definitely break through to the deity realm. When that time comes, we won't be afraid of the heaven-seeking city." "Yeah, what's there to be afraid of? At most, we'll just lose our lives. 18 years later, we'll be heroes again." A group of mercenaries shouted. They were still very loyal to Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong was a little hesitant. At this time, Lin Feng said, "Let's go overseas. The Eastern Sea is a good place." Everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. Although most of them had never been out to sea before, they were still in awe of the sea. However, they had also heard that there were countless resources in the sea. Moreover, the sea was boundless and was a good place to hide. Entering the sea. No matter how strong the heaven-seeking city was, it would be difficult to find them. "Okay, let's go overseas." Sun Shitong bit her lips. Because the calamity that year had destroyed many ancient cities, the space-time wormhole had been directly paralyzed. Now, they could only choose to fly overseas. However, flying directly was too far and would consume too much energy. Lin Feng felt that they should still buy some flying mounts. Thus, he said, "Let's find a town and buy some griffins." Griffins were long-distance flying mounts. It saved time and effort. For such a long distance, riding a griffin was the best choice. No one had any objections. Then, they went to a place called Wangxian Town. They bought 30 griffins from the market in Wangxian Town. Then, everyone left on the griffins. Lin Feng and Sun Shitong rode on a griffin alone. The griffins they rode sped up and rushed forward, shaking off the griffins behind them. Sun Shitong's subordinates also consciously did not follow too closely. The two of them lay on the griffin's furry feathers. The wind whistled. Sun Shitong snuggled in Lin Feng's arms and closed her eyes, enjoying this rare silence. "What kind of place is overseas? I heard that it's very dangerous. I wonder if we can survive there?" Sun Shitong was still a little worried. "With me here, what are you afraid of?" Lin Feng caressed Sun Shitong's delicate and beautiful face. Then, he slowly lowered his head. Sun Shitong blushed, closed her eyes, and began to respond to Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the others did not travel smoothly. On the third day, they were caught up by the heaven-seeking army. This place was not too far from an ancient city. The heaven-seeking army happened to be resting in the ancient city. 30 griffins passed by here and attracted the attention of the heaven-seeking army. They were rather unlucky and just happened to run into the muzzle of the heaven-seeking army. Seeing the densely packed heaven-seeking army cultivators chasing after them, Sun Shitong was so scared that her face turned pale and her body trembled. It's the heaven-seeking army! The cultivators of the heaven-seeking army are all experts, especially the 5 commanders. They're all in the deity realm. We're dead for sure. Sun Shitong's voice trembled. Chapter 1556. Lin Feng naturally didn't care about the Wentian Legion. However, Sun Shitong was clearly frightened. She looked at Lin Feng and said in a trembling voice, "Hurry up and run. We'll help you block them for a while. Maybe you can escape." Escape? Why should I escape? They're just a bunch of small fries. What's there to be afraid of? Lin Feng said indifferently. Seeing that Lin Feng wasn't willing to leave, Sun Shitong was so anxious that she almost cried. Not long after, the Wentian Legion caught up. Then, 3,000 to 4,000 Wentian Legion soldiers surrounded Lin Feng and the others. "Brat, you're the one who killed my brother-in-law Zhang Chang?" Ma Tianyuan looked at Lin Feng fiercely. The killing intent in his eyes wasn't concealed at all. Ma Tianyuan was a North Sea rogue cultivator, and he was a famous person in the past. Life and death. In a single thought. He had the aura of a superior. If an ordinary person saw Ma Tianyuan, they would probably be so scared that they couldn't stand up. However, Ma Tianyuan was nothing in front of Lin Feng. Describing him as an ant or a dog was already giving him a lot of face. Even an ordinary god was just a small fry in front of Lin Feng. Only a divine flame expert could make Lin Feng feel threatened. However, how could a divine flame expert be so easy to see? "So you're Zhang Chang's brother-in-law. Your brother-in-law deserved to die. I'll give you a chance now. Quickly take your people and leave, and I'll spare your life," Lin Feng said indifferently. At this moment, many cultivators in the ancient city came out with the Wentian Legion to watch the show. Many cultivators were scattered around, and when they heard Lin Feng's arrogant words, the corners of their mouths twitched violently. Lin Feng was a young cultivator. He actually dared to say such words to Ma Tianyuan. Wasn't he seeking his own death? Many people thought that Lin Feng was crazy. Even Sun Shitong and her 300 subordinates couldn't help but smile bitterly. They had seen arrogant people before. He had never seen someone as arrogant as Lin Feng. Everyone knew that Lin Feng was very powerful. It was very likely that he was a rebirth realm expert. However, Ma Tianyuan was also a rebirth state expert. Moreover, he was at the peak of the rebirth state. He was almost invincible in the rebirth state. Not to mention, Ma Tianyuan still had 3,000 cultivators from the Ask Heaven Legion by his side. Lin Feng was still so arrogant, which made them smile bitterly. They really didn't know what to do. "Captain, let's break out of the encirclement. There are no gods here. Maybe we can break out of the encirclement, under the leadership of the prince," a mercenary said. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng. His eyes were full of pleading, hoping that Lin Feng would agree to this request. Break out? Why did they break out? Dealing with a bunch of ants? Do they still need to break through? I can kill them with one hand, Lin Feng said indifferently. "Brat, you're courting death." Ma Tianyuan roared angrily. He could no longer tolerate such an arrogant Lin Feng. This was completely looking down on him, Ma Tianyuan, and the heaven-seeking legion. Isn't this too arrogant? I've never seen such an arrogant person. Being arrogant in front of the heaven-seeking legion, he doesn't even know how strong he is. Isn't this courting death? Many people shook their heads. These people didn't think that Lin Feng had the strength to defeat Ma Tianyuan or the Heaven-Seeking Legion. After all, Lin Feng was too young. Perhaps he had some strength. However, the Heaven-Seeking army had the advantage in numbers. Ants could even bite an elephant to death. The disparity in strength between the two sides was too great. Sun Shitong and her subordinates didn't know how to end this. Because Lin Feng had no intention of leaving. Many people had fierce gazes, ready to fight to the death with the Heaven-Seeking Legion. Very good. Very good. I, Ma Tianyuan, have roamed the Tianwu continent for 7,300 years. What kind of people have I not seen? I've even seen many extraterrestrial beings, heavenly demons, and young masters of some of the top forces in the continent of the 9 provinces. Those big shots weren't as arrogant as you. Today, I've learned something new. Ma Tianyuan was so angry that he laughed. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "That's because you're ignorant. Extraterrestrial beings are only worthy of carrying my shoes. Heavenly demons are just ants in my eyes. The so-called young masters of the continent of the 9 provinces are just a bunch of idiots in my eyes. How can they compare to me?" After Lin Feng said this, the world fell silent. No one spoke again. Originally, everyone thought that Lin Feng was arrogant enough. Only now did they know. What was that just now? Comparing the arrogance just now to the arrogance now, it wasn't even worth mentioning. Is this guy really so arrogant because he has the ability? Or is it because he knows that he's going to die, so he's bragging before he dies? Many people muttered in their hearts. Many people were leaning towards the last possibility. Because Lin Feng was really too young. In the world of cultivators, any random person would have cultivated for hundreds, thousands, or even thousands of years. But Lin Feng? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, how many years had he cultivated for? In such a short period of cultivation, how powerful could he be? Ma Tianyuan was already burning with anger. He only had one thought now, and that was to tear this arrogant guy Lin Feng into pieces to vent the hatred in his heart. Ma Tianyuan didn't hesitate. He waved his hand and shouted coldly, "What are you waiting for? Kill this kid for me." Yes. The cultivators of the Wentian Legion were already on the verge of losing their patience. Many people wanted to tear this arrogant guy Lin Feng into pieces, but Ma Tianyuan hadn't given the order, so they didn't dare to act on their own. Now that Ma Tianyuan had given the order, the 3,000 cultivators of the Wentian Legion roared and charged towards Lin Feng and the others with great momentum. "That kid is going to die," many onlookers whispered to each other. They didn't think that Lin Feng could withstand the attack of the Wentian Legion. Seeing the Wentian Legion's cultivators rolling over, Sun Shitong and her 300 subordinates were so scared that their faces turned pale. They wanted to fight with their lives on the line, but now they realized that they didn't even have the courage to fight. At that moment, Lin Feng smiled coldly. "You're just a bunch of ants and you dare provoke me?" Lin Feng took a step forward, and a terrifying pressure spread out from his body. Bang, 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 bang. The cultivators of the Wentian Legion couldn't control their bodies. One by one, their bodies exploded, turning into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, all 3,000 cultivators of the Wentian Legion had died. How is this possible? Ma Tianyuan, who was at the peak of the rebirth realm, shouted in disbelief. Bang! In the next moment, his body also exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Between heaven and earth. Absolute silence. Countless people watched this scene with pale faces. That young master had only taken a step forward, and the pressure he emitted had actually killed 3,000 experts of the Wentian Legion, including Ma Tianyuan. What kind of cultivation was this? Wasn't it too terrifying? Could it be that he was a god? Thinking of this possibility, many people were almost scared to death. Chapter 1557. Everyone was too shocked, because the strength that Lin Feng had displayed was too powerful. So young, yet so powerful. It was as if a god had descended to the mortal world, sacred and inviolable. Could it be that he's really a god? Someone muttered to himself. Many people were considering this question. Was Lin Feng a god? He shouldn't be a god, right? How can there be such a young god? But he might be at the peak of the rebirth realm, or even the demigod realm. Someone said. Everyone thought about it, and felt that it was possible. Some super monsters could almost instantly kill cultivators of the same level. So, if Lin Feng was also at the peak of the rebirth realm, or even the demigod realm, it was not impossible for him to kill the cultivators of the Wentian Legion with his own aura. As for God, no one believed it, nor did they want to believe that Lin Feng was at the divine realm. He was a god at such a young age. Wasn't this too much of a blow? They're all dead. Lin Gongzi is too powerful, isn't he? No wonder the commander hasn't found a man after being single for so many years. It turns out that the commander already has such a powerful man. Sun Shitong's subordinates were all discussing in shock. Immediately after, they went to collect the storage rings. For these mercenaries, the storage rings of the Wentian Legion cultivators were filled with endless temptation. It was even more tempting than beautiful women. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng as if she didn't know Lin Feng. She knew that Lin Feng's cultivation was very powerful. However, she didn't expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. With such a cultivation, could he be called the #1 expert below the divine realm? Sun Shitong felt that perhaps other than the true gods in this world, there was probably no one else who was a match for Lin Feng. How can you be so powerful? Sun Shitong even looked at Lin Feng with some admiration. Lin Feng lowered his voice and said, "What do you think? My strength is the same as when I was doing it on Mount Wu, very powerful." Hearing Lin Feng's explicit words, Sun Shitong's pretty face was pink, and her legs were a little weak. Shameless. Sun Shitong snorted at Lin Feng. However, in her mind she couldn't help but think of some scenes of making love with Lin Feng. He only felt that his body was slightly hot. Tui tui tui. What am I thinking? Sun Shitong bit her red lips and glared fiercely at Lin Feng. She blamed everything on Lin Feng. In the past, when Lin Feng hadn't appeared, she wouldn't have thought about these messy things. Now that Lin Feng had appeared, not only had she lost her virginity again and again, but she had also been distracted and had let her imagination run wild. At this moment, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at the sky. Rumble! A huge vortex appeared in the sky. Terrifying fluctuations were emitted from the huge vortex. Look, what's that? Many people pointed at the huge vortex that had appeared in the sky. Feeling the tyrannical aura emitted from the vortex, many cultivators' faces turned pale, as if they were facing a wild beast that was about to awaken. Clearly, some terrifying existence was about to descend. Swish, a dazzling light surged out. In the endless divine light, a man walked out. This was a tall man. He was 3 meters tall, like an iron tower. His body exuded a suffocating pressure. His divine power was vast. It enveloped all directions. Many people felt the terrifying aura from this man, and their faces were as pale as paper. This man was too powerful. God! It's a god! Someone cried out in horror. A god had descended to the world. It's him, the heaven-seeking army's third army commander, Zhuge Long. Someone recognized the god's identity. Zhuge Long! It could be said that he was a famous existence. Heaven-seeking army! It was Zhuge Long who was in charge. This deity realm expert was Chu Wentian's right-hand man. He was high and mighty, looking down on the heavens. Ma Tianyuan is Zhuge Long's trusted subordinate. He was just killed by that young master, and the 3,000 cultivators of the heaven-seeking army were all killed. Then, Zhuge Long appeared. Although that young master's strength is not bad, facing a true god, I'm afraid he will die this time. A cultivator said. Many people agreed with this cultivator's words and nodded repeatedly. Even if it was a demigod. In front of a god. They were like ants. Moreover, Lin Feng might only be at the peak of the rebirth realm. If that was the case, Lin Feng wasn't even a demigod. Sun Shitong was already so scared that her face was pale. She originally thought that after Lin Feng killed Ma Tianyuan and the cultivators of the heaven-seeking army, they would have enough time to leave. But she didn't expect a high and mighty god. In such a short period of time, he had already descended. He didn't give them any time to leave. The situation in front of them was too despairing. Sun Shitong's subordinates looked at the gods standing in the sky. They also felt that their mouths were dry. No matter how confident they were in Lin Feng. But facing a god. This kind of confidence. It had long since vanished into thin air. To have such strength at the peak of the rebirth realm, he is indeed powerful. Zhuge Long's cold gaze swept towards Lin Feng. As expected, he is at the peak of the rebirth realm. Many cultivators whispered. They couldn't see Lin Feng's cultivation clearly. But since the gods said that Lin Feng was at the peak of the rebirth realm, then, Lin Feng should be at this cultivation level. The god shouldn't be wrong. You are the commander of the Third Army? Those people just now were all your subordinates, Lin Feng said indifferently. Many people were surprised. Facing a god. Surprisingly, Lin Feng still looked calm and indifferent. Wasn't this too arrogant? That's right, they are my subordinates. Unfortunately, I came a step too late and couldn't save them. Zhuge Long's voice turned cold. If I had come earlier, you would have died with them, Lin Feng said indifferently. What did that guy say? Many people looked at each other, unable to believe their ears. Sun Shitong and the others were completely stunned. They also couldn't believe what they had heard. Zhuge Long was also slightly stunned, but he quickly regained his senses. His face was extremely gloomy. In his eyes, Lin Feng was just an ant. But now, an ant dared to be so arrogant in front of him. Was he looking down on Zhuge Long? Zhuge Long had cultivated for 720,000 years. He had never seen anyone who dared to provoke a god. Zhuge Long looked at Lin Feng sinisterly and said coldly, Brat, do you know what you are saying? Lin Feng flicked his sleeves and said indifferently, Of course I know what I am saying. It wasn't easy for you to cultivate to the deity realm. If you kneel on the ground and kowtow and apologize, I will spare your life today. Otherwise, next year, today will be your death anniversary. Crazy. He must be crazy. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the surrounding cultivators started shouting hysterically. Lin Feng actually dared to make a god kneel. This was too arrogant. In their eyes, this was a challenge to a god's dignity. This was simply courting death. Chapter 1558. The majesty of a god was not to be provoked, but now, Lin Feng had repeatedly provoked the majesty of a god. No one could understand why Lin Feng was doing this. Did he really not put a god in his eyes? That was a god. High and mighty. An existence that looked down on billions of living beings. Zhuge Long was now enraged by Lin Feng. He didn't even want to directly kill Lin Feng, this ant who dared to provoke him. Because in Zhuge Long's opinion, directly killing Lin Feng was too easy for Lin Feng. He should capture Lin Feng. Then, he would use all kinds of methods to torture Lin Feng. Only in this way could he vent his anger. Brat! An ant like you actually dares to provoke a god like this. Now I will let you know how terrifying the anger of a god is. Zhuge Long's sinister voice came out. Immediately after, his big hand opened, covering the sky and the sun, destroying the sky. He directly grabbed Lin Feng. The pressure of a god filled the air. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show trembled when they felt the divine power emitted from Zhuge Long's body. Plop! Plop! Many weaker cultivators even directly knelt on the ground. Their butts were up. Their heads were on the ground. They were like ducks lying on the ground. They were worshipping Zhuge Long. This is a god's move. Once a god makes a move, the pressure he emits is not something that we mortals can contend against. Many people said in shock and horror. Sun Shitong was so scared that her face was as pale as paper. Because this was an attack from a god. She was very worried about Lin Feng's safety. Under the attack of a god, Lin Feng probably didn't have the strength to resist, right? If she could die in place of Lin Feng, Sun Shitong would even rush out without hesitation. But now, the divine power enveloped him. Sun Shitong couldn't move at all. She could only watch as the god attacked Lin Feng. Just when everyone thought that Lin Feng would not be able to escape this calamity. At this moment, Lin Feng sneered. "You're just a god at the third sky of Nihility God realm. You're pitifully weak. How dare you jump around in front of me? You really don't know your place." Many people muttered to themselves. Shindu had made his move. It was almost impossible to escape this calamity. How dare he be so contemptuous of God? What on earth was this fellow thinking? Do you want to discuss God before you die? All sorts of thoughts flashed through everyone's minds. But at this moment, everyone felt a dazzling light. It streaked across the sky. Everyone saw that it was Lin Feng's saber light. He casually waved his hand. The saber light split the sky. This saber light directly enveloped Zhuge Long. Under the shroud of this saber light, Zhuge Long was shocked to find that he could not escape. "How is this possible?" Zhuge Long roared in disbelief. His originally calm and collected face was now filled with a horrified expression. Only now did Zhuge Long know. It was the young human cultivator. How terrifying was he? Could it be that he was hiding his cultivation? But all of this was no longer important. The power of Lin Feng's casual attack had already scared Zhuge Long out of his wits. Zhuge Long did not dare to hesitate. He hurriedly condensed a sacred art to block Lin Feng's attack. However, the sacred art that Zhuge Long condensed was instantly torn apart by Lin Feng's sky splitter. Puff! Then, Zhuge Long was directly split in half by Lin Feng's attack. Between heaven and earth, there was no more sound. In everyone's eyes, they were all deeply shocked. Unbelievable. Killing a god with a wave of his hand. And it was an instant kill. What kind of strength was this? Could it be the divine fire realm? Thinking of this, many people were so scared that their bodies trembled. And Sun Shitong finally understood the meaning of Lin Feng's words. "Your man is much more powerful than you think." It turned out that he was actually powerful to this extent. "He is the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army." In an instant, Sun Shitong thought of a possibility. Lin Feng was such a terrifying existence, it was impossible for him to be unknown. And there was indeed a person called Lin Feng, whose name shook the sky martial continent. That was the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army. Although it was widely spread in the outside world that the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army had fallen. But it was said that the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army was swallowed by the space-time reversal. Although everyone thought that he was dead for sure. But no one saw his corpse. Sun Shitong's heart was filled with shock, and her emotions were complicated. She had never thought that her man would have such a great background. For a moment, Sun Shitong was even a little absent-minded. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and grabbed Zhuge Long's godly original strength. Then, he injected all of Zhuge Long's divine source into Sun Shitong's body. After receiving the replenishment of Zhuge Long's divine source, Sun Shitong's cultivation rose steadily. Not long after, he broke through from the 3rd level of the creation realm to the 10th level of the creation realm, then broke through to the rebirth realm, all the way until the 5th level of the rebirth realm before stopping. "I've become a cultivator of the 5th level of the rebirth realm just like that!" Sun Shitong cried out in alarm, her expression filled with disbelief. He had raised his cultivation by 12 realms in one go. This was simply like a dream. Lin Feng laughed and said, "This is only half of the divine source. This is almost the limit of what your body can withstand. The other half of the divine source is sealed in your dantian. Now you need to adapt and stabilize for a period of time before you can continue to absorb the divine source and increase your cultivation." Sun Shitong was extremely excited. She immediately hugged Lin Feng and gave him a kiss. Usually, Sun Shitong was more conservative. Now that she was so excited that she could not control herself, she took the initiative to give Lin Feng a kiss in front of so many people. When she came back to her senses, she quickly separated from Lin Feng, her face so red that it could bleed. There were many female cultivators in the crowd, and there were also some beautiful female cultivators. At this moment, those female cultivators were all looking at Sun Shitong with envy and jealousy. Lin Feng was young, handsome, and powerful to the point of being able to kill gods. This kind of man was simply the most perfect man. They did not feel that they were inferior to Sun Shitong. Many female cultivators realized that Sun Shitong was just a mercenary. Many of those female cultivators came from large clans, and compared to Sun Shitong, they felt even more superior. However, they did not have the chance to meet a man like Lin Feng. How could they not be jealous of Sun Shitong? "Let's go," Lin Feng said. At this time, the mercenary group came back to their senses. The 30 griffins quickly flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Countless cultivators were left behind, excitedly discussing what had just happened. "Junior brother, is the video recording done?" In the distance, there were more than 10 cultivators gathered together. They were from the Celestial Array sect, a sect that specialized in array formations. One of the Celestial Array sect's disciples was holding a crystal ball of light, which was densely packed with array patterns. This was an extremely precious crystal ball of light. This crystal ball of light was called a memory ball of light, and it could capture the scene that happened. The Celestial Array sect's cultivator holding the crystal ball of light said excitedly, "It's recorded. Now we can imprint the scene in the memory ball. This time we're rich." Chapter 1559. Breaking news! A human cultivator killed the Wentian Legion's 3rd Legion commander in Xian Prefecture. Someone recorded the scene with a memory ball. You can buy a crystal ball with that scene in the auction house now. The shocking news spread in many cities. First, it spread to the 72 prefectures in the north. Then, it spread to other prefectures. Even overseas. The disciples of the Celestial Array sect sold the memory ball to the auction house. The auction house used the crystal ball to record the scene in the memory ball. They began to sell it in many cities. Therefore, this matter caused a great sensation. Is it true? Zhuge Long was really killed in an instant. That's a god. How strong is he to be able to kill a god in an instant? Many people said in shock. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. The news is absolutely true. It's said that the person who killed Zhuge Long is a cultivator from the Tianwu continent. Another person said. A cultivator from the Tianwu continent? A god from the Tianwu continent? Aren't the protectors of the martial heaven continent all in the Central Plains? Some people were puzzled. It's not one of the protectors. It's a young god. He's very young. I heard that he's only in his 20s. Someone in the know said. Who are you trying to fool? A 20-year-old god? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, he wouldn't be able to reach that level, right? Many people shook their heads. However, even though they didn't believe it, many people couldn't suppress their curiosity. Therefore, they went to the auction house to buy a crystal ball. The contents of the crystal ball were very simple. There were only a few scenes. These scenes were of Zhuge Long attacking Lin Feng and then being killed in an instant by Lin Feng. After Zhuge Long's death, the scenes stopped abruptly. It's really Zhuge Long. He's Chu Wentian's trusted subordinate. He's a god. How could he be killed in an instant? Many people cried out in shock. Look at the person who killed Zhuge Long. Why do I feel that he looks familiar? Do you have any recollection of him? Some people looked at Lin Feng in the crystal ball and couldn't help but feel puzzled. Many people looked at Lin Feng when they heard him. Why does this person look so similar to Lin Feng? Suddenly, a cultivator said. Lin Feng? Which Lin Feng? Someone asked doubtfully. The leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng. The cultivator said. Didn't he perish together with Mose Tianzuan? Back then, he was indeed devoured by the space-time reversal. Logically speaking, he should have died. But who knows if this Lin Feng is so powerful that he managed to return safely? It really is Lin Feng. I was lucky enough to meet him once. Very quickly, the news that Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the martial heaven continent quickly spread. This matter could be said to have caused a huge sensation. Back then, Lin Feng was an overlord in the sky martial continent. Exterminating the vast realm's demon venerable and fighting Mosei Tianzuan had caused the heavenly demons to suffer heavy losses. If Lin Feng hadn't been devoured by the space-time reversal, the sky martial heaven continent would have become a superpower. It was estimated that the Kingdom of Desire had already become a supergiant. The forces of Dragon Palace did not dare to have any ideas about the Kingdom of Desire. But now, Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the martial heaven continent. This piece of news was too shocking. Heaven-seeking city! Heaven-seeking palace! At this moment, the atmosphere in the heaven-seeking palace was very heavy. The 4 commanders of the heaven-seeking legion had come to see Chu Wentian. Chu Wentian looked to be in his 30s. He was dressed in white, with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was extraordinarily handsome. This person hadn't cultivated for a long time, only 500 years. However, he had already entered the deity realm. His current cultivation base could be described as unfathomable. Just who killed Zhuge Liang? Chu Wentian's expression darkened slightly as he asked. The commander of the First Legion said, "Reporting to the young master, according to the information obtained by our subordinates, the person who killed Zhuge Liang is called Lin Feng. He's the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army who was swallowed by the space-time reversal 2 years ago during the battle against Mosei Tianzuan." Chu Wentian narrowed his eyes and said, "I've long since heard of this person's reputation. It's really surprising that he was able to come back alive after being swallowed by the space-time reversal. His life isn't ordinary." The commander of the Second Legion said, "Young master, what should we do now? Do you want us to join forces and kill this person to avenge Zhuge Liang?" Chu Wentian said, "Many people are probably waiting for us to make a move so that both sides will suffer. Could it be that Zhuge Liang's revenge will be left unsettled?" The commander of the Fourth Legion was unwilling to give up. "Of course we can't." Chu Wentian's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. He said, "If this person doesn't die, how can I, Chu Wentian, put my face? However, we're not in a hurry to make a move against him." "Young master, what do you mean?" The 4 commanders looked at Chu Wentian. "Lin Feng is a super genius that only appears once every 100,000 years in the Tianwu continent. However, he also has an opponent, Huangfu Qingtian. He's also a super genius that only appears once every 100,000 years. The 2 of them have a 10-year battle to the death. In less than a year, their 10-year battle will end. Huangfu Qingtian obtained a part of Pangu's orthodoxy, and it's said that he's about to open the Origin Secret Area. If he obtains the inheritance of the Origin Secret Area, Lin Feng will definitely die. Since Huangfu Qingtian is going to make a move, why should we be in such a hurry?" Chu Wentian's eyes flashed with a sinister light. "What if Huangfu Qingtian loses this battle?" asked the commander of the Fifth Legion. Chu Wentian smiled. "Even if Lin Feng can defeat Huangfu Qingtian, he'll be like a lamp without oil by then. Wouldn't it be easy for us to kill him?" "Young master is wise." The 4 commanders bowed to Chu Wentian. While Lin Feng was leaving for the Eastern Sea of Desire, there were many people in the Tianwu continent. They had all seen the crystal ball that Lin Feng had used to kill Zhuge Liang. The Jiang family, the Heavenly God Hall, the Sacred Hall of Spiritual Array Masters, the extraterrestrial beings, the heavenly demons, and so on. The upper echelons of these large factions had all seen the scene. Naturally, some people were happy, while others were angry. In the depths of an ancient secret area, there were 33 steps floating in the sky. Crossing the 33 steps, then one could enter the Origin Secret Area. Huangfu Qingtian had already stepped onto the 21st step of the Celestial Stairway. A mysterious cultivator in a black robe stood at the foot of the stairs. This cultivator had brought him news that Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the Tianwu continent. It's more interesting if you're not dead. If you're dead, you'll be invincible. Very soon, I'll be able to enter the mysterious area and obtain the Yuan Shi Tianzuan's legacy. Then, I'll kill you in 10 years. Huangfu Qitian laughed coldly. Chapter 1560. The East Sea was not peaceful during this period because two powerful figures came to the country of desire. The country of desire's power increased greatly. The country of desire, which had always been low-key, began to act in a high-profile manner. First, they seized a large number of territories that were originally taken by the Dragon Palace and other forces. Then, they began to seize the territories of the Dragon Palace and the other four forces. Therefore, the forces led by the Dragon Palace launched several large-scale battles with the country of desire. What was shocking was, these battles all ended with the country of desire's victory. 3 months after the battle, the country of desire directly broke through the mountain gates of the Sky Rock Island, Fire Island, Thousand Mountain Island, and Myriad Dao Ancient Sacred Land. The Sky Rock Island of the four forces was the most despicable. They had previously joined the vast domain Demon Venerable. Later, after the vast domain Demon Venerable was defeated, they joined Mosei Tianzuan. Lin Feng and Mosei Tianzuan were both swallowed by the space-time reversal. The country of desire was leaderless. The Dragon Palace began to suppress the country of desire. At this time, the Sky Rock Island changed and became an overseas cultivation holy land, as if it had nothing to do with the heavenly demons. Among the forces that attacked the country of desire, the Sky Rock Island was the most active. However, the country of desire had an emperor weapon, the Longevity Bell, so the Dragon Palace did not dare to fight to the death with the country of desire. Therefore, when the country of desire launched a counterattack, the impact on the Sky Rock Island was the greatest. Other than the Sky Rock King and a few others who escaped, the rest were either killed or captured. The other three forces, Fire Island, Thousand Mountain Island, and Myriad Dao Ancient Sacred Lands sect masters all chose to submit to the country of desire. The Dragon Palace activated the defensive array. They did not come out. Now, the country of desire controlled the entire East Sea region and part of the South Sea region. The country of desire's momentum shook the heavens, and countless experts came to join them. The cultivators who had left when the country of desire was at its lowest point saw that the country of desire had become stronger again, and were extremely annoyed. They wanted to join the country of desire again, but they were rejected at the door. What puzzled everyone was that in the area ruled by the country of desire, they began to build a temple. And the person that the temple worshipped was Lin Feng. The power of faith. It's a technique that has been lost for a long time. Does this Lin Feng know how to absorb the power of faith? Right now, the country of desire was the focus of attention of countless people in the Sky Martial continent, especially those living beings from other realms. When the sky demons found out that the country of desire had built a temple, and that the temple was dedicated to Lin Feng, many people were bewildered. The method of absorbing the power of faith had long been lost. Therefore, in this era, there were not as many giant gods and quasi-emperors as there were in the past. How many years had it been since a great emperor appeared? It was also related to the fact that he couldn't absorb faith power. Of course, it was not to say that the method of absorbing the power of faith had been completely cut off. For example, Buddhism had mastered this method. Even the great powers and races of the outer realms, heavenly demon, the various major powers of the 9 provinces. There were only a handful of forces that could absorb the power of faith. The suspicion of the outside world did not slow down the progress of the country of desire's construction. Temples dedicated to Lin Feng were built one after another. Under the propaganda of the country of desire, many people entered the temples to pray. Even more power of faith was being condensed. At this time, Lin Feng returned to the country of desire in the Eastern Sea. Just as he returned to the country of desire, a ball of demonic chi entered the demon orb. Lin Feng discovered that it was the demon lord. The demon lord could not leave the demon orb for too long. Now that he had left the demon orb for more than 2 years and had experienced many battles, his body had become very dim. Demon Lord, are you all right? Lin Feng asked. The demon lord sat on a lonely grave, silent as always. He shook his head and said, If the demon orb is not destroyed, I will not die. Did you get the magic lotus? Lin Feng said. It was a failure. The demon lord frowned slightly and said, Perhaps this is fate. Lin Feng said, Although I failed this time, if there is a chance next time, I will definitely snatch the magic lotus for you. The demon lord said, I hope there will be another chance, but I need to rest for a while to recover my body. How long will that take? Lin Feng asked. It might take a long time, the demon lord said, and then disappeared from the grave. The reason why he needed to rest this time was because Lin Feng guessed that it had something to do with the demon lord leaving the demon orb. After leaving the demon orb for so long, the demon lord might have suffered some injuries that Lin Feng did not know about. Now, Lin Feng could only hope that the demon lord was fine. Lin Feng returned, and many people rushed out. Du Zhu, the astral beast, and the others were the first to rush out. Then came Shang Huanfei, Shi Weizhu, Huang Shilan, Baiying, Lu Mingyan, Xiao Yafei, Xikong Xinyan, Lu Piaomiao, Murong Shui, Xikong Jiayue, Qin Yao, Gui Xiao, and other women or friends of Lin Feng. There was also Madame Qi, the rock troll who represented the upper echelons of the nation of desire. Seeing these people, Lin Feng felt very close. Who is this? Shang Huanfei looked at Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong said generously, My name is Sun Shitong, and I'm Lin Feng's friend. Although Sun Shitong did not state her relationship with Lin Feng. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that when Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng, she had an affectionate look on her face. Sun Shitong's eyes were filled with love. It was obvious that Lin Feng had already taken advantage of her. Although they were a little jealous, Shang Huanfei and the others did not say anything. Lin Feng's personality had always been like this. They were also clear about it. Furthermore, in this world, it was normal for men to have many wives and concubines. Lin Feng was such a capable man. Even if he established a harem with 3,000 beauties. In fact, it was not something that was too shocking. After returning to the palace, he briefly listened to what had happened during this period of time. Lin Feng did not interfere with the matters of the country of desire. He left it all to Madame Qi and the others to handle. In the evening, Madame Qi arranged a celebratory banquet to welcome Lin Feng back. At the banquet, Lin Feng saw Shang Huanfei, Huang Shilan, and the others looking at Lin Feng as if they were looking at autumn water. Obviously, they had been separated for more than 2 years. These women. They missed Lin Feng very much. Not only did they miss him in their hearts, but their bodies also missed Lin Feng. They wanted to be in Lin Feng's good graces. That night, Lin Feng tossed and turned for the whole night. He was unable to sleep with everyone. He could only run from room to room. Sometimes it was troublesome to have too many women. However, it was a happy trouble. She was fat and thin. She was graceful. There were all kinds of beauties. It was really an emperor's enjoyment. After that, his old friends, such as Jian Yudi, Yuji, and the others, kept coming to visit Lin Feng. Lin Feng received many guests. When he finally had some free time, Lin Feng thought about solving the problem of the Dragon Palace. Chapter 1561. Lin Feng had come into contact with Ao Bing, the third prince of the Dragon Palace. Ao Bing was not a good person. He was a guy who was obsessed with women. Of course, this might have something to do with Ao Bing's race. Ao Bing was an evil dragon. And the evil dragon was the most lustful race among the dragon race. Now that only the Dragon Palace was left in the East Sea world, the country of desire could be unified. However, it was not an easy task to attack the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace had steep terrain and dense restrictions. It was easy to defend and difficult to attack. Moreover, An ancient force like the Dragon Palace must have a lot of heritage. Once they fought, if the Dragon Palace used their heritage, both sides would suffer. Lin Feng naturally knew this. However, Lin Feng was unwilling to let the Dragon Palace go just like that. He heard that the Dragon Palace had endless treasures. This aroused Lin Feng's interest. Even if he couldn't attack the Dragon Palace, at the very least, he had to make the Dragon Palace vomit blood once. Lin Feng ordered Du Zhu to gather a portion of the elite army. He planned to make a trip to the Dragon Palace tomorrow. At night, Lin Feng went out for a walk and saw Madame Qi's beautiful maid, Chunyenny, enter her room. Chunyenny was a top-grade beauty. She was tall and had a pair of long and beautiful legs that made people's imagination run wild. Lin Feng knew that Madame Qi liked women. This Chunyenny was trained by Madame Qi for his own enjoyment. Madame Qi had offered Chunyenny to him. However, he had refused. Now, Chunyenny was in Madame Qi's room. What was she doing? He shook his head. This was someone else's business, and he was not interested in interfering. Lin Feng came to the back garden. It was rare for him to be quiet and to be able to walk alone. A cool breeze blew. The fragrance of flowers filled the air. The back garden was full of all kinds of flowers. There were many types. Lin Feng had never seen them before. In the back garden, there were even some ancient trees that surprised Lin Feng. There were more than 10 ancient trees that were dazzling and radiating light in all directions. They were as bright as crystal lamps. When the branches and leaves swayed, they made a pleasant sound. That sound. It was as if a beautiful woman was playing a piece of music. There was also an ancient tree with 7 different colored petals. Those petals emitted a fragrant scent. It was refreshing. The 7 types of flowers rendered the ancient tree extremely beautiful. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh at the wonders of the Creator. There were too many incredible creatures in this world. It wasn't just the vegetation. There were also some demons, devils, beasts, extraterrestrial races, and so on. They were all very strange and unimaginable. Lin Feng saw a beautiful silhouette in front of him. She was standing in front of a cluster of flowers as if she was admiring them. Huang Linger. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He did not expect to see Huang Linger in the back garden. Thinking back to the time when Huang Linger pretended to be Huang Shilan and had intimate contact with him, Lin Feng still felt a little awkward when he saw Huang Linger again. While Huang Linger was not looking at him, Lin Feng was just about to turn around and leave when he heard Huang Linger cough. This coughing sound didn't seem right. Lin Feng walked towards Huang Linger and asked, "What happened to your body?" Hearing Lin Feng's voice, Huang Linger's body trembled slightly. She didn't turn her head and said faintly, "This is a personal matter, so it's not convenient to tell outsiders." Lin Feng grabbed Huang Linger's wrist and said, "However, I'm not an outsider." "You... let go of me!" Huang Linger struggled gently. However, she was unable to break free. Lin Feng saw Huang Linger's pale face. Origin injury. Such a serious origin injury. Lin Feng scanned Huang Linger's body with his spiritual will, and his expression suddenly changed. Lin Feng had suffered an origin injury before. He had the immortal divine body. It was a narrow escape. What about Huang Linger? Origin injury, injuring the origin of the great Tao. This was an injury second only to a Tao injury. And Huang Linger's origin injury was much more serious than Lin Feng's origin injury. This was because Lin Feng discovered that Huang Linger's origin was almost completely cracked. This meant that Huang Linger's origin injury was about to transform into a Tao injury. Now, Huang Linger's origin was injured. Even the origin Tao fruit couldn't cure it. How could this be? Lin Feng said with an ugly expression. Lin Feng understood Huang Linger's intentions. However, Lin Feng had already provoked Huang Shilan. Therefore, he didn't want to provoke Huang Linger anymore. This was also the reason why Lin Feng had rejected Huang Linger back then. However, in the depths of Lin Feng's heart, he hoped that everything would be fine for Huang Linger. "You don't have to worry." Huang Linger broke free from Lin Feng and walked into the distance. Linger! Lin Feng called out softly. When Huang Linger heard Lin Feng's voice, which was trembling with emotion, she was stupefied. Lin Feng didn't call out her name coldly like before. Was he pitying her? Huang Linger sighed in her heart. I'm very sorry for what happened that night in Fallen Moon City. The next day, when I learned that you had left, I stayed alone for a long time. I thought for a long time, and there were many things in my heart that I wanted to say to you, but I didn't know how to start. Lin Feng said. Huang Linger's tears flowed out in an instant. There were many times in life, things didn't go as planned. She could hear some of the emotions in Lin Feng's words. Huang Linger wished that she had heard these words when there was nothing wrong with her body. Huang Linger knew that if she stood there, perhaps Lin Feng would walk over. She could even hug him, throw herself into his arms, and confide in him. Tell him about how she had fallen in love with him after they met in the Azure Dragon Institute. But Huang Linger didn't stop. Because she knew that her body was in a terrible state. At this time, there shouldn't be any more fetters. She shouldn't stop. Perhaps she should leave silently? That was the best choice. Whether it was for herself, or for Lin Feng, both were the best choices. Lin Feng stood in the same place, looking at the empty garden. Huang Linger had already left. He was alone, looking at the bright moon, lost in thought. Lin Feng left the garden and found Du Zhu, asking Du Zhu about the method to treat Huang Linger. It's almost transformed into a Dao injury. This is difficult. Du Zhu frowned. Is there really no other way? Lin Feng asked. Generally, people who can survive with such injuries are quite heaven-defying characters. But I've seen that Huang Linger. Apart from being a little beautiful, her cultivation talent is mediocre. It's difficult for her to withstand such injuries. Du Zhu rubbed his chin and said. Seeing Lin Feng's ugly expression, Du Zhu continued. If you really want to save her, it's not completely impossible. Don't you have the immortal divine blood? When you break through to the God realm, your immortal divine blood will transform. At that time, you might be able to use your immortal divine blood to heal her injuries. Of course, the probability of this is extremely low. The success rate is estimated to be 1% at most. Of course, the precondition is that she's still alive before you break through to the God realm. If she dies before you break through to the God realm, then she won't even have that 1% chance. I don't think she'll live for more than a few days. Chapter 1562. Lin Feng was currently at the 10th level of the Rebirth Realm. After reaching this level, most cultivators would usually break through to the Demigod Realm and continue to consolidate their cultivation. After settling down for a period of time, they would try to break through to the Divine Realm. After all, the Divine Realm was no small matter. If he wanted to break through to the Divine Realm, it was not an easy task. Lin Feng's own accumulation was strong enough to break through to the Divine Realm. He felt that he did not need to break through to the Demigod Realm. Right now, Lin Feng had two things to do. One was to break through to the Divine Realm with his soul. The second was to transform his mana into divine power. After completing these two tasks, Lin Feng would be able to break through to the Divine Realm. Lin Feng cultivated the Luya stargazing chart. Now, the speed at which his soul was improving was extremely fast. As for his mana, it would transform into divine power. He needed to continuously polish and increase the purity of his mana. Lin Feng had been using divine-level starstones to cultivate during this period of time in order to temper his own mana. He hoped that his mana would transform into divine power as soon as possible. However, this would also take some time. I have quite a few divine-level pills here. Perhaps they can temporarily suppress Ling Er's injuries, Lin Feng said. Du Zhu said. Let's give it a try. Lin Feng knew that Huang Linger might not want to see him. Therefore, he went to look for Huang Shilan and talk to her about Huang Linger. She didn't want me to tell you about her body's condition, Huang Shilan said in a sad voice. What exactly happened? Why did she suffer such a serious injury to her origin? Lin Feng asked. All these years, she has been cultivating with all her might. Other than cultivation, there seems to be nothing else in her life. In the end, because she cultivated too much, she went berserk. Huang Shilan shed tears. Lin Feng was silent as he sighed in his heart. He handed the prepared pills to Huang Shilan and said, "Take this to Ling Er and tell her that I will definitely help her recover." "Yes." Huang Shilan nodded heavily and left with the porcelain bottle containing the divine-level healing pills. On the second day, Lin Feng led Du Zhu, the star behemoth, and 10,000 elites of the Raging Flame Corps to Dragon Palace. At this time, Lin Feng's Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky battleship finally came in handy. Lin Feng took out the ancient starship Xianyuan sealed inside the glass bottle. The ancient ship quickly expanded, floating on the surface of the sea. Such an ancient ship was a priceless treasure. Above, one could roam the starry sky. Below, one could enter the ocean and the 9 underworlds. "Get on board!" Lin Feng shouted. Following that, everyone boarded the ship one after another. When Lin Feng boarded the ancient starship Xianyuan, suddenly, a voice resounded in his mind. "The Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship needs a captain." When this voice came out, Lin Feng was immediately stunned. His face was filled with shock. Lin Feng had vaguely heard this voice when he first obtained the ancient starship Xianyuan. However, at that time, he didn't hear it clearly. Now, but she heard it clearly. There was indeed a voice in the ancient starship Xianyuan. However, Lin Feng didn't feel any malice from this voice. Instead, he felt a kind of excitement. Could it be a ship spirit? Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but tremble. He had heard of some of the most top-grade ancient ships, such as the Empress God's pirate ship. They all had ship spirits. Ancient starry sky ships with ship spirits didn't even need people to operate them. If the master wanted to go somewhere, the ship spirits would be able to sense it. As long as there was a correct route, the ancient ship would personally go wherever the master wanted to go. "That's right. I am now the new master of the ancient ship." Lin Feng stretched out his hand and stroked the ancient starship Xianyuan. "Let's go." He pulled out his sword and gave the order. The 1,000-meter-long ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship suddenly emitted a loud rumbling sound. The ship shook. It instantly tore through the void. The next moment, it appeared thousands of miles away. "What the?" Lin Feng knew that this ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship was extraordinary. But now, he was also shocked. This speed was too heaven-defying, right? As expected of an ancient ship from before the immortal ancient era. Perhaps the Empress ancient ship couldn't compare to his Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship. The ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship released an energy barrier that enveloped the entire ancient ship. Then, it directly entered the sea. Next, it jumped through the void in the sea. Each jump was thousands of miles away. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who was shocked. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who had ever seen such a fast ancient starry sky ship? Even Du Zhu had never seen such a fast ancient starry sky ship. "It's really incredible. It seems that this ancient ship has a heaven-defying origin," Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded. 2 hours later, the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship dived into the depths of the sea where the Dragon Palace was located. "The Dragon Palace is an important place. Leave immediately. Otherwise, we'll kill you without mercy." A large number of oceanic species drove 10 ancient warships out and blocked the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship's path. Boom, boom, boom. Without any superfluous words, the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship directly attacked the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace. The ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship's spirit stone cannons were 3 huge barrels fused together by an array formation. They rotated together and fired together. Under normal circumstances, spirit stone cannons could be fired using spirit stones as cannonballs. This way, they could cause great damage. However, The most destructive weapon was still the spirit stone cannonball that was made using a special method. The spirit stone cannonball was invented by alchemists. The main material of the spirit stone cannonball was spirit stones that were then fused with dozens or even hundreds of other materials. Of course, the power contained in these spirit stone cannonballs was different. The higher the grade of the material, the more materials were fused. The more powerful the cannonball was, the more powerful it would be. Once this cannonball was fired, it could cause a destructive attack. The deciding factor of the cannonball's power was not only the cannonball itself, but also the spirit stone cannonball. The material and structure of the spirit stone cannonball. The dense array formations on the spirit stone cannonball often determined the grade of the spirit stone cannonball. The higher the grade of the spirit stone cannonball, the more powerful the cannonball would be. After returning to the country of desire, Lin Feng found a lot of spirit stone cannonballs in the treasury of the country of desire. Lin Feng had already taken away these spirit stone cannonballs, but now they finally came in handy. A dense cannonball was fired towards the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace. Courting death, fire! The cultivators of the Dragon Palace on the ancient warships of the Dragon Palace roared. Immediately after, the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace also started firing cannonballs. However, the spirit stone cannons of the ordinary ancient warships of the Dragon Palace were too low grade. Even if they fired the same cannonball, the destructive power couldn't compare to the cannonball fired by the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship. There were many reasons why the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship were so powerful. Firstly, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship were of a high grade. Secondly, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship could fire continuously. At most, it could fire 10 cannonballs in a row. One had to know that an ordinary ancient starship would need to reignite its cannonball after firing once. Only then could it fire a second cannonball, which would take a lot of time. However, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship could load 10 cannonballs at a time. Once ignited, it could fire continuously. In a large-scale war, time was the guarantee of victory. Therefore, the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship was most suitable for large-scale battles. At this time, its advantage was obvious. Therefore, the ancient starship Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky ship ignited its cannonball once. Then, waves of spirit stone cannonballs flew out. In an instant, the cannonballs fired by the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace were destroyed. Then, the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace weren't spared. After being hit by the cannonballs, the 10 ancient warships started to explode. Miserable screams resounded. Many cultivators of the Dragon Palace wanted to abandon the ship and run for their lives. However, before they could jump off the ship, the power of the cannonballs blew them into pieces. Chapter 1563. The Xianyuan Ancient Starship is so powerful. Lin Feng was overjoyed when he saw how powerful the Xianyuan Ancient Starship was. It had destroyed an enemy fleet in the blink of an eye. What a powerful ancient starship! With just one, he would be able to travel unimpeded in the starry sky world. The Xianyuan Ancient Starship continued heading deeper into the sea. Not long after, the Xianyuan Ancient Starship arrived at the depths of the sea. From afar, one could see the endless palaces. However, there were restrictions protecting the palaces. "Young master, we've arrived at the Dragon Palace," the rock golem said. Lin Feng nodded. He stood on the deck and looked at the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace. As expected of a holy land for cultivation. Draconic chi filled the air. Purple clouds spewed out. It was as though he had arrived at a legendary paradise. Dong! 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 At this moment, war drums sounded. The oceanic species soldiers gathered in the Dragon Palace. A total of 300,000 soldiers were gathered in the plaza. They rode on 30 ancient warships and charged toward the Dragon Palace. The leader was Dragon King Aolai. Lin Feng, you trespassed on my Dragon Palace, destroyed 10 of my ancient warships, and killed my oceanic species cultivators. Are you trying to start a war with my Dragon Palace? Aolai looked at Lin Feng gloomily. Aolai looked like he was in his 40s, but he had cultivated for 270,000 years. He was currently at the 7th firmament of the Void God realm. He was at the prime of his life. However, Aolai was cunning and good at scheming. Therefore, Lin Feng did not have a good impression of Aolai. He sneered. So what if we start a war? If the East Sea is only left with your East Sea Dragon Palace, it is not under the control of my Kingdom of Desire. How can I allow others to sleep here? Once I destroy your Dragon Palace, the East Sea will be unified. Aolai said. It won't be that easy to destroy my Dragon Palace. My Dragon Palace has enough resources to deal with you. In the end, both sides will suffer. Have you thought this through? Lin Feng laughed heartily. So what if both sides suffer? I can recruit an endless stream of soldiers, but your Dragon Palace is besieged by my Country of Desire's army. Without any reinforcements, it will only be a matter of time before your Dragon Palace is breached. Aolai said coldly. It won't be a problem to hold on for a few hundred years. At most, we'll just have to wait. Maybe your Country of Desire won't be able to hold on first. Who knows what will happen next? Right now, the Country of Desire is at its peak, but in a few years it might decline. I've seen too many forces like this. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, My Nation of Desire will be immortal, so you don't have to worry about the survival of my Nation of Desire, Dragon King. As for you, Aolai, you overestimate your Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. Now, there are cultivators from the 9 prefectures, extraterrestrial beings, and even heavenly devils coming to the Martial Heaven continent. I think that many of those people are interested in the treasures of your Eastern Sea Dragon Palace, right? I wonder if I can cooperate with them? If those people join us, how many more years will the East Sea Dragon Palace last? You. Aolai's expression flickered. He said, Lin Feng, back then, to fight against the heavenly devils, you almost lost your life in the space-time reversal. Now you want to cooperate with the heavenly devils, extraterrestrial beings, and even the 9 prefectures cultivators to deal with the Dragon Palace? How is your collusion with outsiders to oppress the Martial Heaven continent's native powers any different from those traitors? Lin Feng indifferently said. The extraterrestrial beings and the 9 prefectures cultivators aren't just trying to invade the Martial Heaven continent. There are also people who want to help the Martial Heaven continent. There are also many neutral people. I'm looking for such people. Since I'm not cooperating with cultivators who want to invade the Martial Heaven continent, why would I betray the Martial Heaven continent? Aolai's expression flickered. He said, Lin Feng, the enmity between us isn't an irreconcilable hatred. All of our enmity stems from the struggle for benefits. In this world, there are no eternal enemies, and there are no eternal friends. How about this? Let's both take a step back, sit down, and negotiate calmly. You don't want to see the Eastern Sea, which has just regained its peace, turn into a bloodbath again because of our battle to the death, right? The Eastern Sea Dragon Palace had an imperial weapon, so it wouldn't be so easy to attack. If they really started fighting, it would be just as Aolai had said. Blood would flow like rivers, and countless people would die. That wasn't something Lin Feng wanted to see. Lin Feng's original goal had been to extort the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace and plunder their resources. Since Aolai had brought this up, Lin Feng went with the flow. He said, It's not impossible to negotiate, but it depends on whether the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace is sincere. Aolai sighed in relief when he heard that there was room for negotiation. He smiled and said, Our East Sea Dragon Palace is naturally sincere. Why don't we move to the East Sea Dragon Palace and discuss the details? Said Lin Feng. Then open the deployment spell and let my boat in. Said Lin Feng. Aolai smiled insincerely and said, It's just a negotiation. There's no need for so many people, right? Lin Feng chuckled and said, "It seems like the Dragon King isn't sincere." The Dragon King's expression flickered. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "Of course I'm sincere. I also believe in Lin Gongzi's reputation." He waved his hand. Immediately, dozens of array masters from the Dragon Palace activated the array. The ancient ship, Xianyuan, entered the array and stopped at the plaza. Lin Feng ordered the astral beast to guard Xianyuan. Then, he entered the palace with Du Zhu. Inside the palace, beautiful oceanic race women shuttled back and forth. All of them wore revealing clothes and were filled with temptation. Aolai smiled and said, "Lin Gongzi hasn't enjoyed the beauties of the oceanic race yet, right? I'll give Lin Gongzi 100 beauties, and they'll be Lin Gongzi's maids. What do you think?" In the world of cultivators, it was common to see people giving each other women. However, Lin Feng wasn't interested in this. He calmly said, "There's no need for that. Let's start the negotiation. I don't ask for much. I just want a third of the treasures in the Dragon Palace's treasury." "Are you dreaming?" The third prince, Ao Bing, shouted. "Who do you think you are? How dare you shout in front of me? Dragon King, is this how you educate your son? He has no respect for his elders and doesn't know the rules at all." Lin Feng's expression suddenly sank. Ao Bing was furious. Back then, he had sent people to kill Lin Feng. In just a few years, Lin Feng had become the high and mighty leader of the East Sea's cultivator army. Ao Bing was extremely envious. Aolai glared at Ao Bing and said, "Hurry up and apologize to Lin Gongzi." "Father!" Ao Bing gritted his teeth and told him to apologize to Lin Feng. He really couldn't do it. "Slap him!" Aolai's expression suddenly sank, and he couldn't help but shout coldly. Immediately, a guard from the Dragon Palace came in front of Ao Bing and slapped him. Ao Bing was stunned by the slap. "Father, you asked someone to slap me?" Ao Bing looked at the Dragon King in disbelief. His father, who doted on him the most, had actually sent someone to slap him. Ao Bing couldn't accept this. "Take him away!" Aolai waved his hand, and a few guards immediately took Ao Bing away. Chapter 1564. Ao Bing, that idiot! It's one thing for you to abuse your power in the Dragon Palace because of your father's favor. Why don't you take a look at the situation now? How dare you cause such trouble? Serves you right. The other princes looked at each other and saw gloating expressions in each other's eyes. The third prince, Ao Bing, was arrogant because of his father's favor. Ao Bing looked down on even his own brothers. Ao Bing had snatched the first prince's beloved concubine. He had also humiliated the second prince. He had flirted with the fourth prince's wife. But so what? Ao Bing was favored. The other princes could only swallow their anger when they were bullied. Perhaps it was because Ao Bing was usually too high and mighty and looked down on everyone. Therefore, he developed an arrogant personality. To put it bluntly, he did not care about the severity. How could Ao Bing interrupt the negotiation between Lin Feng and Aolai? Of course, Ao Bing did the most wrong thing. It was not to interfere in this negotiation. Instead, he did not give Aolai any face in front of Lin Feng. Aolai asked Ao Bing to apologize to Lin Feng. If Ao Bing apologized, this matter would be over. However, Ao Bing was used to being arrogant. Therefore, he did not listen to Aolai. Wasn't this a slap to Aolai's face? He couldn't even discipline his own son. How could Aolai not be angry? This was also the reason why the other princes were gloating. After this matter, Ao Bing's status would definitely plummet. This was something that could be predicted. After Ao Bing was pulled away, Aolai said in a deep voice, "Lin Gongzi's request is too much. He wants to take 1/3 of the treasures of the Dragon Palace. How can it be so easy in this world?" Lin Feng knocked on the table and said with a faint smile, "The Dragon King might have made a mistake. I am not discussing with the Dragon King. I am ordering you to let the Nation of Desire take 1/3 of the treasures of the Dragon Palace. You are going too far." Aolai's expression was gloomy. Lin Feng smiled and said, Dragon King, I think this deal is actually quite good because this treasure can ensure that your dragon palace can survive in the East Sea in the future. To put it bluntly, with my ability, it would be easy for me to become an ancestor or a saint in the future. At that time, you will feel lucky that you took out 1/3 of the treasure vault's treasures in exchange for future peace. I will only give you one chance. Dragon King, you think about it. It seems like the Dragon King is a straightforward person. Poison Ancestor sends some people to follow the people of the Dragon Palace and collect the treasures in the treasury. In the hall, dozens of beautiful sea race dancers were dancing. After the negotiations were completed, Aolai put on a smiling face. His previous unhappiness had disappeared. He even drank and chatted with Lin Feng. Aolai smiled as he said, Sir Lin, I heard that you're not married yet. I have 7 daughters, and they're all as beautiful as flowers. Sir Lin, take a look and see if you like any of them. If you marry them, we'll be able to do great things together. Aolai clapped his hands and the 7 women walked out. They were the 7 princesses of the Dragon Palace. They were tall and beautiful. The 7 princesses looked at Lin Feng curiously. They were different from the women of the human race. The 7 princesses were looking at Lin Feng in a passionate and bold way. They didn't try to hide anything from Lin Feng. They were also curious. Who was the leader of the East Sea Cultivator army? He was able to force their father to lower his head. Now that they saw Lin Feng, they saw that he was so young and handsome. Their hearts rippled. Young master. The 7 young masters bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and looked at the Dragon King. He smiled and said, I appreciate the Dragon King's good intentions, but it's a critical time for me to cultivate. In addition, I have a 10-year battle with Huangfu Qingtian. I don't have much time for romance. Haha. Young master, you're right. Aolai waved the 7 princesses away. After taking 1/3 of the treasures, Lin Feng planned to leave. Aolai personally sent Lin Feng off. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the depths of the Dragon Palace. The fluctuation disappeared in a flash. However, Lin Feng still noticed it. He raised his eyebrows and said, What kind of fluctuation is that? Aolai said, It's the dragon burial abyss deep in the Dragon Palace. Even the people of the Dragon Palace don't enter that place. Why? Lin Feng asked curiously. Rumor has it that a true dragon died there. It's very dangerous there, and there's only a slim chance of survival. In the past, some ancestors of the Dragon Palace went there to explore, but in the end, no one came out. Aolai said. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. A true dragon had died there? That was no small matter. Was there anything precious left behind? He said calmly. I want to go in and explore. Will the Dragon King allow me to? When Aolai heard Lin Feng's words, he was overjoyed. He thought to himself, Haha! You're just courting death. It's best if you die in there. Once you die, the East Sea Cultivator army will once again be leaderless, and will inevitably split into 4 or 5 groups. At that time, I will take back all the treasures you took from the East Sea, and I will even take the territory of your country of desire. When he thought of this, Aolai almost laughed out loud. Although he couldn't wait for Lin Feng to enter the dragon burial abyss, Aolai pretended to be concerned about Lin Feng. The dragon burial abyss is too dangerous. Lin Gongzi, it's better if you don't go in. Lin Feng said. It's fine. Even if something happens, I won't blame you, Dragon King. Aolai said. Since Lin Gongzi has made up his mind, I can only comply. Lin Gongzi, please follow me. Lin Feng nodded and followed Aolai into the dragon burial abyss. Du Zhu, the giant astral beast, and the others followed. Before long, they arrived at the dragon burial abyss. The dragon burial abyss was pitch black. An eerie aura spread across the place. The dragon burial abyss seemed to be connected to hell. True dragons are the strongest race of the dragon race. Since ancient times, it's said that only a few true dragons have appeared. An adult true dragon is even stronger than a great emperor. If a true dragon really died here, it'll definitely become a terrifying land of death. Young master, I don't think we should go there, Duzu said. Aolai was so angry that he wanted to kick the meddlesome poison ancestor into the dragon burial abyss. Chapter 1565. Lin Feng's words made Aolai happy. No matter what, I have to go down and take a look. You guys just wait for me here. Duzu and the giant star beast understood Lin Feng's personality. They knew that once Lin Feng made a decision, it would be difficult for others to change his mind. Then Lin Gongzi must be careful, Aolai said with a fake smile. Lin Feng nodded and said, Thank you for your concern, Dragon King. I will come out in one piece. Haha. Lin Gongzi is a good person. I believe that Lin Gongzi will also come out in one piece, Aolai said with a smile. As for how many of these words were sincere, it was hard to tell. Lin Feng did not delay and directly flew into the dragon burial abyss. As he dived, the temperature in the dragon burial abyss was getting lower and lower. This dragon burial abyss was very strange. Lin Feng felt a gloomy aura enveloping his body. This gloomy aura was actually trying to enter his body. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to withstand this gloomy aura and their bodies would be frozen. Then they would fall into the abyss and die. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate. He used the heavenly fire in his body to block the gloomy aura that was trying to invade his body. Ordinary gloomy aura would not be able to hurt Lin Feng. Lin Feng continued to dive, and when he reached a depth of 3,000 to 4,000 meters, the air began to be filled with a highly toxic gas. As he went deeper, the poison became more and more intense. This poison also contained an ancient and evil power. This power was emitted from an unknown source. It was very strange. Lin Feng used the great poison technique to block the invasion of the poison, but he found that the evil power seemed to be trying to invade his body. Lin Feng used the heavenly fire to refine the evil power that invaded his body. He continued to dive into the abyss. Finally, they reached the bottom of the abyss. At the bottom of the abyss, Lin Feng saw some skeletons scattered around. There were big and small skeletons, and there were even complete dragon skeletons. They were probably the ancestors of the dragon palace who entered and eventually perished. The area of the abyss at the bottom was very large. Lin Feng walked all the way to the depths. Puff! Suddenly, Lin Feng suffered a calamity. His right chest had been pierced by an invisible force. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. This place was indeed very strange. He quickly summoned the death armor to protect his body. After a short time, Lin Feng sensed the invisible and intangible strength attack him again. However, this time, the death armor blocked the attack. A clang sound was heard. Lin Feng took in a deep breath. Thankfully, he had the protection of the death armor. Otherwise, it would have been dangerous for him to enter the dragon burial abyss. Lin Feng operated his immortal divine body to heal his injuries. After he recovered, he continued to walk deeper into the abyss. The invisible force attacked Lin Feng again. After 4 or 5 attacks, it could not hurt Lin Feng. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. As he walked deeper into the dragon burial abyss, he observed the abyss. In front of him, there was a huge skeleton that was about 3,000 meters long. It was the skeleton of a huge dragon. Lin Feng had seen dragon skeletons in the outer region of the dragon burial abyss. However, they were at most 1,000 meters long. Obviously, they could not be compared to this dragon skeleton. The dragon skeleton in front of him was so huge. He wondered how strong it was when it was alive. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Such a strong dragon had fallen here. What happened here in the past? Was it the same invisible force that had pierced through his body and ultimately led to his death? Or perhaps, there were other reasons. Suddenly, a scorching flame flew out from behind the dragon skeleton. The ball of hot flames floated in the air and condensed into a blood-red eye that looked coldly at him. What's that? Lin Feng was shocked. After the flame appeared, Lin Feng felt the heavenly fire shake violently. Obviously, the flame was very strong. However, it was not a heavenly fire. It's a demonic fire. Lin Feng was shocked. There was such a strong demonic fire. What kind of demonic fire was it? Did the fall of the dragon have anything to do with this demonic fire? This was the abyss where a real dragon was buried. Could it be? That ball of flame? Was it the true dragon demonic fire? The true dragon demonic flame was one of the most powerful demonic flames among the countless types of demonic flames. It was one of the top 10 super demonic fires. My clone is about to break through to the divine fire realm. It just so happens that it is lacking a powerful fire. I can't believe I can find the true dragon demonic fire here. Lin Feng looked at the dragon fire and narrowed his eyes. His eyes were filled with excitement. If he could subdue the true dragon demonic fire, then his clone would be able to complete the breakthrough. Human! You have a heavenly fire! The true dragon demonic fire said in a deep and cold voice. Huh! It has a fire spirit? Lin Feng was shocked. It seemed that the true dragon demonic fire in front of him was very terrifying. Otherwise, it would not have been able to give birth to a fire spirit. Since you know that I have a heavenly fire, you should submit to me, said Lin Feng. Ha 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 ha, you want me to submit to you? How laughable! I'll eat your soul and take your heavenly flames. As long as I can take your heavenly flames, I'll evolve and refine 3 types of heavenly flames. I'll become the most perfect flame creature. In the future, I'll become an ancestor and a saint, and I'll rule the heavens. The true dragon demonic fire said in a sinister voice. Said Lin Feng. Dreams are beautiful, but reality is cruel. Heavenly fire can suppress all other flames. No matter how strong the true dragon demonic fire is, it is still a demonic fire restrained by heavenly fire. What do you have to fight me? When Lin Feng finished talking, he waved his hand. Whoosh, 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 in an instant flames surged out. Purple earth core fire. Black sun fire. Golden dragon divine flame. Lin Feng summoned 3 heavenly fires. They pounced on the true dragon demonic fire at the same time. Then, the raging heavenly fire engulfed the true dragon demonic fire. True dragon demonic eye, impenetrable by all flames. Suddenly, a sinister voice came from the true dragon demonic fire. The pair of cold eyes could be seen. They emitted a cold and bloodthirsty energy. A blood-red light. It spread out in all directions. A terrifying scene appeared. The 3 types of heavenly flames were all blocked. When Lin Feng saw that, he was astonished. This was something he had not expected at all. A mere demonic flame could actually resist his 3 heavenly flames. This was simply something out of a fantasy. But now, it was happening right in front of him. The true dragon demonic fire laughed strangely. You want to know? Go ask the king of hell. Swoosh! The blood-red eye in the true dragon demonic fire blinked. A blood-red light emerged and moved straight towards Lin Feng. Chapter 1566. This true dragon demonic eye was strange and unpredictable. Lin Feng's heart started pounding when he saw that attack. He did not dare to hesitate and took out the 9 demons painting. The 9 demons painting shook. It was as if the world was about to collapse. Clang! The true dragon demonic eye's attack was blocked by Lin Feng's 9 demons painting. Then, under Lin Feng's attack, the 9 demons painting quickly rushed forward. It directly suppressed the true dragon demonic flame. An emperor weapon! I really didn't expect that. Not only do you have 3 types of heavenly flames, but you also have an emperor weapon. Ha 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 ha, after killing you, this emperor weapon will belong to me. The true dragon demonic flame roared excitedly. It seemed to be sure that it could defeat Lin Feng. Swish, 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 beams of light shot out from the true dragon demonic eye one after another. They kept sweeping towards the 9 demons painting. Even the 9 demons painting was shaken and could not move forward. Swish! There was a flash of light. The true dragon demonic eye. It disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He scanned his surroundings with his divine sense, but he could not find where the true dragon demonic eye was hiding. Hee hee hee! Suddenly, a burst of sinister laughter sounded in Lin Feng's mind. The true dragon demonic flame appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The true dragon demonic flame laughed and said, "Kid, do you know what my most powerful technique is? Let me tell you, it's an attack on the soul. The dragon corpse you saw was far more powerful than me back then, but in the end, it still died in a battle of magical powers with me. Do you know why that is? It's because I destroyed its soul." Lin Feng's expression darkened slightly. "You don't have a physical body, so you mainly cultivate the soul." "That's right, I mainly cultivate the soul, so I can cause great damage to other people's souls. You are no exception. Your soul will be destroyed by me," shouted the real dragon fire. It was flying in Lin Feng's brain. "Don't hide. Hurry up and come out. I'll destroy you and then I'll swallow you." The true dragon demonic flame was obviously talking to Lin Feng's soul. He was searching for Lin Feng's soul. "Ha ha! Demonic dragon fire, if it were someone else, they wouldn't have been able to escape. But today, your opponent is me. You're doomed to be killed by me. Your soul's strength will be absorbed by me, and your fire source will become my nourishment." Lin Feng let out a long cry. The primal chaos ancient lamp flew out from Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng's soul was inside the primal chaos ancient lamp. Now, the primal chaos ancient lamp had evolved into a divine artifact. Moreover, it had fused with the mysterious yellow ancestral qi. A perfected great Tao. It was extremely powerful. This was one of the things Lin Feng relied on to deal with the true dragon demonic flame. Furthermore, Lin Feng also cultivated Lu Ye's stargazing chart. This was a soul-refining secret technique created by one of the 4 giants of the grandest world, Taoist Lu Ye. In this world, it would be difficult to find a soul secret technique that could match it. Although Lin Feng's soul was far from being comparable to the true dragon demonic flame. But Lin Feng had the advantage of magic treasures and soul secret techniques. Magic treasures made from primal chaos ancestral qi and mysterious yellow ancestral qi? Boy, you're really shocking me more and more. These treasures are destined to be mine. The true dragon demonic flame laughed sinisterly, its voice filled with endless greed. The pair of demonic eyes shot out beam after beam of light at the primal chaos ancient lamp. The reason why the true dragon demonic flame was powerful was because it had condensed a pair of blood-red true dragon demonic eyes. The attacks from these eyes were extremely harmful to the soul. As the saying goes, everything has its weakness. It was precisely because of these 2 true dragon demonic eyes that it was terrifying. Only the true dragon demonic flame could kill experts who were far stronger than it. The true dragon demonic flame wanted to do the same thing and kill Lin Feng by destroying Lin Feng's soul. But what it needed to do now was to destroy Lin Feng's primal chaos ancient lamp. Because Lin Feng's soul was in the primal chaos ancient lamp. If it couldn't destroy the primal chaos ancient lamp, it naturally couldn't talk about destroying Lin Feng's soul. Clang clang clang, the attacks of the true dragon demonic eyes landed on the primal chaos ancient lamp. A series of violent collisions rang out. What surprised Lin Feng was that the primal chaos ancient lamp actually began to crack bit by bit. What a terrifying true dragon demonic eye! Lin Feng took a deep breath. At this moment, he didn't dare to waste any time. The primal chaos ancient lamp quickly flew towards the true dragon demonic eye and floated above it. Lin Feng's main and auxiliary primordial spirits sat cross-legged inside the primal chaos ancient lamp and began to work together to activate Lu Ye's stargazing chart. Buzz! A huge stargazing chart was formed. Lu Ye's stargazing chart was one of the top soul cultivation techniques. Naturally, it was all-encompassing. Not only did it record the methods to cultivate the soul, but it also recorded soul attack techniques. This stargazing chart was called the Myriad Manifestations Chart. It revealed the myriad manifestations of the heavens. Once activated, its power was limitless. Now that Lin Feng had activated this myriad manifestations chart, the power of the myriad appearances painting was immediately displayed. In the void, it spun one round. Then, it suppressed the true dragon demonic fire. "Break for me!" The true dragon demonic fire shouted coldly. The true dragon demonic fire shot out billions of blood-red rays towards the myriad manifestations chart. However, the attack of the true dragon demonic eye was unable to break the myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp slammed into the true dragon demonic fire and sent it flying. Then, the myriad manifestations chart also attacked the true dragon demonic fire. "Heavenly fire return!" Lin Feng shouted coldly. He controlled the three heavenly fires to fly into his mind, together with the myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp attacked the true dragon demonic fire together. This time, the true dragon demonic fire was attacked from both sides and was quickly suppressed. "Boy, you have so many tricks up your sleeve!" The true dragon demonic fire roared and attacked left and right. It wanted to rush out of Lin Feng's mind. "You have no chance. Die!" Lin Feng sneered. Three heavenly fires. The myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp. At the same time, it exploded with the most powerful combat power. It launched a storm-like attack on the true dragon demonic fire. In the end, the true dragon demonic fire could not resist. Its soul directly exploded. Only the purest soul origin was left. The fire origin. And an extremely demonic true dragon demonic eye. "Ha ha ha, the true dragon demonic fire is dead. Divine state clone, come out and devour the true dragon demonic fire." Lin Feng shouted and summoned the divine state clone. At this time, the true dragon demonic fire flew out of Lin Feng's mind and floated above the divine state clone. Above the divine state clone's head, the essence was like a vast ocean, burning fiercely. The true dragon demonic fire ignited the burning essence. The moment the essence was ignited, the true dragon demonic fire merged perfectly with the divine state clone. With the essence as the source, the divine fire was ignited. The divine state clone had finally entered the divine state.